Bobby Roast Beef here, Jigs and freaking Bigs. Man, I hope you guys are ready. It is the week of Christmas. And here's our little weekly Christmas gift to you this week. We got ourselves one hell of a show, guys. We got to talk about how Bobby Roast Beef's soul just got absolutely crushed, but out of the fires, there was an emerging phoenix that came out, and he's got his sights on a new goal. It's going to be something amazing, guys. We got lots of crazy stuff to talk about this week. We are diving in to have a little conversation about electronics. Helpful tool or decision-making factor for you? We're going to talk about it right there in our Just a Tip segment. This week, we do have some headlines that are popping out of the eastern part of the state right now involving some records that got to be reviewed, and we're going to dive in. And believe it or not, fishy shit actually went down this week, not for just myself, but also for Who the Fuck is Joe Brown. We're going to discuss all that good stuff. We've got Bailey Eigbrett from Serious Angler Podcast, and you're not going to want to miss this, guys. We have such a great episode. Go ahead, grab yourself something delicious to enjoy, and we'll see you guys in a little bit. We'll be right back right after this. Actually factually accurate right there, and I can stand by that 100%. Good morning, Joe. How are you this morning?
I'm well, man. How are you?
I am feeling good this week. I don't know.
That's good.
I was a little bit. We had major change of plans for our holidays this year, so we are staying home and local. At first I was a little disappointed. Was really looking forward to this trip, but I'm very happy. Things have been changing up here at Jigs and Bigs a little bit, and I gotta tell you guys, we'll get right into that. But before we do, I know this is a big episode where a lot of folks might be tuning in to this show for the very first time. And the reason is a lot of folks have some free time this week. And lots of us content creators will see a little bit of a spike in interest of like new viewers or listeners, or whatever it might be. And I want to dive in and talk about a couple of things, get everybody up to speed. So welcome, folks, to Jigs and Bigs. I am your host, Bobby Roast Beef. I am here every single week with the one and only Joe Brown, American Vet Fishing over there. And we have a weekly conversation about all kinds of fishy stuff happening all over the country, though we are both based right here in the Bay State, Massachusetts. So we have that New Englander spin. We probably drink a little too much donkeys than we normally should, but it is what it is. So we're bringing you a little bit of entertainment that is everything we talk about is pretty fishy adjacent, and it's kind of a big show here. We have we go for a while. Some of our shows exceed over 4 hours, but we try to provide you as much value as possible. You're gonna laugh, you're gonna learn, and you can interact with the community we've got going over here, because in my opinion, that's what fishing is all about that community. So if you're interested in the show and you like what you're hearing, make sure to go ahead and follow us on social media too. There is a Jigs and Bigs YouTube channel you can subscribe to over there. We have some video content. The podcast does drop over there, though it's available on every single major podcast platform that's out there. You can follow Joe at American Vet Fishing on YouTube as well. And we each have respective Instagram profiles, Facebook pages, all that kind of stuff. Go ahead and look us up, and whatever platform you like, and follow us and keep things. In fact, I do want to mention Joe has tapped into the auction market lately, and he did a little bit of whatnot auctioning, and I gotta tell you, dude, I was highly impressed with what I saw going on over there.
Thank you.
I really was, dude. That was very, very cool. I have no shortage of notifications from Whatnot informing me, number one, that I need to set up a payment option if I want to make bids. And let me spoil that for you, Whatnot. I don't. Because that could be bad. I saw some of the heat you were throwing out there. I'm like, damn, dude. I'm like, if I was an absolute moron, I'd be like, oh, yeah, great, absolutely. Then I'd look at my credit card bill and be like, what am I doing with my life? But
that's how I got into it, man.
Dude, I'm telling you. And the thing is now they know my number. Now they know my interests. So I'm getting all these other, you should check out this auction happening now. Look at this stream. And I'm like, man, this could be really bad. It's been pretty nuts. But I also should mention, check out jigsandbigs.com because we have a bunch of links over there that are really, really helpful. The information on where you can find the podcast, all that good stuff. We also work with some amazing partners like Dark Horse Tackle, for instance, a handful of other great partners. The entire list is right over there. Go ahead, check it out, jigsandbigs.com. And we do live events too. We have one coming up in January, and it's a live event that is happening in Springfield, Massachusetts. It's celebrating our 300th episode. And as if that weren't enough, in this show, we're also live streaming that party too. So if you're not able to be in the Springfield, Mass area, you can live stream it on the Jigs and Bigs YouTube channel. But you should pick up some tickets anyway, because all of our ticket purchasers will be entered to win fantastic prizes. And just today, I just dropped a post promoting one of our prize sponsors, which is Chegan, and Joe and I, once he logged in, I was like, man, I got to pick a song for this. What do you think? And we narrowed it down that we were feeling kind of like in that punk vibe, and we landed on Bro Him from Pennywise. I think that was a good call. I like that. But, anyway, enough about all that stuff. We have some great stuff going on for you. And one last thing I do want to mention, if you are tuning into the show for the very first time, we mentioned community. It's a big deal for us here at Jigs and Bigs. We have a hotline set up for Jigs and Bigs where you can call and be a part of the show. Later in the show, you're going to hear a segment called FTG, which is an acronym for Fuck That Guy. And it's a spot where anglers all over the place can call out acts of fuckery, things that cross their paths that they're a little bit frustrated with. Or you'll hear even later in the show, we have a live roll segment, which is sort of like an actual audio mailbag of sorts. Folks ask us questions. Mainly Eli asks us questions. You'll get comfortable with that the more you listen. But we have this great conversation. And we engage with our folks, with our listeners, our jig heads over at the hotline there. And the hotline number is 413-324-8519. Go ahead and save that number, 413-324-8519, in your phone. Leave it right there because you can text that number at any moment. You can call us and leave a 3-minute voicemail. If your message or what you've got to say is longer than that, leave 2 and I will edit them together. It's what I do. And it's all good stuff. With that said, let's get into this week's show, folks. Joe.
Yes.
I think what we should do, we normally here have been talking about our weeks. We kind of do a little bit of a review. But I think we have to change things up, at least for this episode, to try some things out, because one of the things we're going to talk about involves the headline this week. Let's go ahead and dive in. Alrighty, folks. We have a pretty amazing headline here that kind of shook things up here around, for sure, around the Jigs and Big studio, but also shook things up around the Northeast specifically, and it has to do with a state record, which we love talking about state records on this show. We absolutely love, because there's details, there's stories, there's conversation, there's in some cases there's a little bit of drama with them, and there certainly is with this one right here. So for a long time, I had been citing the state record in Massachusetts that the state has recognized, and it's still currently, as of today, Monday, December the 22nd, still shows up on the Massachusetts website. The state record largemouth bass was caught in 1975, allegedly, by one Mr. Walter Bolonis, and it weighed in at 15.8 pounds. Now, that's not the headline. The headline is this. Just this week, just 5 days ago on December the 17th, Mark Burgess over on the Big East Bass Fishing YouTube page, Mark Burgess posted a video where, and I'm going to read the description here to give it to you guys. He says, this is the first-hand testimony account of where the Massachusetts state record largemouth bass was actually caught. Hear how Walter Bolonis' young friend Joe, at that time, just 12 years old, remembers the day of what he saw when he saw that 15.8 pound largemouth. So Joe gives us some testimony and gives us a little bit of insight as to, in this video, as to what had his relationship with Walter. I guess Walter was like a friend of the family, a friend of his father's, something like that. And as it would come to turn out, that is not a legitimate state record, unfortunately. Apparently, Walter had been on a trip in Florida and had caught that bass in Florida, which, for what it's worth, I guess at the time, that fish would have actually been a Florida state record. 100% would have been a Florida state record at the time, but that wasn't good enough for Mr. Balonis. It was not good enough. He wanted to make history. So he had a 55-gallon tank of water in his, I think, a cargo van, and he drove that fish with an aerator running the entire way up to Massachusetts, and then had shown the fish to Joe's family. Joe got to see eyes on the fish. It was an absolute beast. And then they orchestrated essentially what was like a dog and pony show to make it seem as if this fish was caught not only in Massachusetts, but
through the ice
in 1975. 50 years ago. John Carter, one of our jig heads over here, he chimes in. He was like, oh, this is gold. He goes, I am frothing at the mouth. Dude, you and me both. Now, here's the thing about like state records. Like, this was a tough one because a lot of folks, I would talk about this with guests on the show. Joe, you've heard me talk about this. We've talked about this in the past. This is like a unicorn fish if it were legitimately caught here, 100%. But I'll tell you what, there's something kind of believable about this area. Now, I 100% expected that what the state does is they require you to report the body of water you caught it from. He reported it was from this one body of water, and apparently there's talk amongst the community at length that there's no way that this body of water would have supported a fish of that size. It just doesn't have the amount of bait in it. It doesn't seem likely. In fact, there's a short list of other spots that have been talked about as being potential locations that could actually support this. And it all gets down to from what I hear is the herring run out on the eastern part of the state. That herring run can provide largemouth with essentially a buffet. It's like a sushi bar conveyor, just like coming by nonstop. All of this bait, it's high calorie, it's high fat, and they're able to really kind of capitalize on that, and the grow rate explodes that way. So you'll see some really, really big fish that can be caught out in the eastern part of Massachusetts, let alone the fact that it's coastal. It sees much shorter ice seasons than other parts of the state. It's the last to freeze, the first to thaw. So that has an effect. So it's not, I'll be honest, like my belief is that giants do exist in these bodies of water. They're rare. They're really, really rare. So I always chalk this up as, okay, it's a state record. Maybe the body of water he's kind of fibbing on. Maybe he's, keeping some secrets or anything. I never thought anybody would actually have the stones to drive like 20 plus hours from Florida to Massachusetts to go all the way to submit a state record. That's nuts. What do you think, Joe?
Man, it's... You noted that it's still as of today on there.
It is
as a state record. To be 100% honest, I don't know if it's ever going to come off if it stays. Which it's going to, back then, like what was the it's basically the word of one against the word of another, who the another isn't even alive anymore.
That's exactly it. Like they can't,
they can't prove it, but they also can't necessarily disprove it.
That's exactly it. Yeah. I mean, and I it's funny because this gentleman, Joe, had when he told the story, he was like, Walter was always good to like my family and everything. Like, I guess when he meant good to him, it was feeding him like cigarettes and beer when he was way underage. Yeah. So there's that. But, I don't know. He certainly doesn't have like anything to gain by tearing this record down or letting
No, he
So,
doesn't. He doesn't.
I feel good about that. In fact, in the comments in that video over on YouTube, and I think I'm going to link it. I reached out to Mark about having him on the show because I'd love to take this conversation a little bit further and figure it out. But you bring up a really good point, Joe, and it's sort of the point that it's sort of the point that I have that's been mulling around in my head is like, so what's the state going to do? Because it's not like they're taking like all of these submissions that were shorter and like that record just being there for the last 50 years. If you caught an absolute giant, you're like, I'm submitting this to such and such. First off, if you're in that headspace, you probably are already aware of what the record is. So if you take this fish and you weigh it and it's not over 15.8 pounds or 15 pounds, 8 ounces, I've seen it written a couple of different ways, and it's over however much. When you look at this, like you're just going to say this isn't a record and just release that fish or whatever you're going to do with it. I think that like, so it's not like they have anything else that they can go on. I could see the state saying, all right, we're going to wipe that one from the books. And if there was a largemouth state record, like prior to that one, maybe they make that the default. Because I think it's got to be set. In my mind, that's what I'm thinking. Like they need to set it somewhere. So what's that number going to be where somebody can, can beat it? Or are they going to, take and just leave it as 0 and then people start submitting their catch and release, I mean, or not catch and release, catch and keep. I mean, there's other ones each year that they could look at. What were the biggest ones submitted? They could probably choose that. I don't know.
It's putting the state in a really shitty position.
It really is. The entire format for record keeping and awards is kind of at stake.
Yeah, it's man, I'm so like on the fence about this because it's like, to be 100% honest, like, and granted, I wasn't around in 1975 to know.
I wasn't either.
Either were you to know what the bass fishing was like. You know what I mean? So, this day and age, we see like 15 pounds. We're like, the fuck right. Like a 15 pounder in Massachusetts. Come on. And like, so like, do I believe his story? 100%. Like that makes more sense to me than pulling a 15 pound bass out of the ice at some small ass rinky dink pond.
Definitely.
Where it gets squirrely is again what the state's going to do about it.
Kind of a mess.
It is. And honestly, it'll probably take something like a petition for them to do anything about it. Yeah. I don't think they're going to be proactive about it. Yeah. The state. I don't think they're gonna be proactive. I think it'll have to be them being forced to be reactive.
John says the state
won't do shit.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Like it would literally take like a petition or something for them to change it in my mind, in my eyes. Yeah. Do I think it should? Yeah. If because his story makes more sense than a 15 pounder being caught in Massachusetts. But like you said, Bobby, so then what? Dude, like, okay, the day that comes off, it's fucking the largemouth bass is
there's no record now,
Yeah.
What do we do?
So let's look at the 30,000 foot view.
Yep.
So now you're going to have all these dickheads on the ice that are going to be killing these big ass fish to try to get the fucking record for the catch and keep.
Yep. Well, I think at that time there was no catch and release option. So like the overall state record, like you submit it either way, you could get in that state record for whatever the largest was of that without even qualifying it. His fish measured at 28 inches, apparently.
Yeah. It's just like
25s aren't like super common, but there were a couple of 25s that were caught in out in that area, actually. Yeah. The reported to be where I was fishing this last weekend, and they were 25s.
Yeah. Just seeing these, like, especially on the ice.
Yeah. Oh,
just seeing
I think
they're gonna kill a bunch of they're gonna in their mind they're gonna say catch and keep because I want to know the pounds, and they're gonna kill these fish to try to get them fucking weighed in, and it's gonna I don't want to say decimate, but it'll definitely have an effect on the fishing for like a few years to come.
Although I will say at that point, like I think that there's a lot of people who are not forward thinking about like, I'm going to get a replica done of that fish. Like there are folks that and it's interesting. I forget where I heard this from, but I was watching something or I heard it on a podcast and somebody was talking about like, if you catch an absolute giant, that fish might actually be like it might not have another spawn on it. You know what I mean? So if you caught something that was like a record like that, it might releasing it might be not really doing much for, you know what I mean? Like it might be spawn, it might be done. So it's like, I definitely get that. I don't know, man. It's weird. I feel like Massachusetts has an opportunity, and it might take like some rocking of the boat or something like that. Cause like, that's the thing. Their thing is like, we can't, like you said, we can't disprove it necessarily. Right. But what they could do is put an asterisk there and just say like, this is not actually because there's enough of a riff, that could be, I don't know. This thing had me all kinds of shook up, which brings me to my week of fishy shit. Like I did some shit this week.
Let's hear it.
So I'm going to start with the fishy shit, and then I'm going to go back and talk about some non-fishy shit, but that's going to affect the show. So the fishy shit, obviously, is the fact that your boy BRB got on the water and put the boat out on the Cape, out in that area. And I specifically went to go and really just kind of do some heavy graphing in one of these areas that I would like to target some giants, again, following that heron run. And that, the place where I was at, I learned a lot. I think I was out there for about 5 hours. I fished for about an hour. I scanned for the other 4. And I went over quickly a lot of the stuff that I had fished before, just to kind of like get like a heads up. Side scanning, just cruising over everything. I went out, had a big old thermos full of coffee, just sitting there doing my thing. I was all bundled up with all my layers. I was actually really comfortable out there. Water temps, 39 degrees. I was like, okay, that's pretty freaking cold, but it's not as cold as I expected to be. I was figuring more like 35, but hey, whatever. I think at that point, these fish aren't really too picky. There is a spot in this lake where I had never ventured to because honestly, like I get right out in here and it's like, it's just almost like, it's just sexy looking structure immediately. So I'm like, I just hadn't gone around to that backside and I had scanned over. I found my way back there and I'm like, I'm going to pay a little special attention here. I'm going to go ahead and look around and see what we come up with. Man, I missed the boat. I missed the freaking boat last time I was there. I discovered an area that had this amazing sort of shallow, rocky area that drops down to about like 7 or 8 feet, but then we get some nice weeds, and good weed edges. And then it happens to be accessible to like really deep water, like one of the deepest points of this entire body of water. So I'm like, that's kind of nice. It puts a lot of this in one sort of like manageable piece where you can go. So I fished that pretty good. I was dragging around a finesse jig, one of those HH Customs PWR XTs with a small curly tail grub trailer, just like basically counting rocks because I did mark fish, but they were all hugging the bottom. Like they were just locked down. I threw a small drop shot around. I did try to coax them with a jerk bait, threw a finesse swim bait as well. I couldn't dig up a bite, but I wasn't necessarily like going to get bit. It was more like, let's get some information so that I can make the next time I come out here a little bit more efficient. And you're going to hear about this in just the tip. Like that efficiency is a big deal. So it was worth investing a handful of hours out there. So I was out there for a little bit. The other beauty is I made a video out of it. So I've got an on the water video that I'll be dropping this week. You guys will be able to check that out. I have a couple of little minor details to the editing, but for the most part, it's set and ready to go. So we have that going on. I'm stoked. I did leave that body of water right around like 2:30ish, and I headed out to one of my favorite spots out that way to get a bite to eat. You know what I had to drink while I was there? I haven't had a Yingling in a minute.
Ooh.
Yeah. I went out to this spot. It's called JD's Burger Company, JD's Burger and Sushi. And they do an interesting thing. They're a fantastic burger restaurant, but they also have an amazing sushi menu. And I did all sushi last time I was there. Filled my face with 3 different rolls. One of them was an eel and cucumber. The other one was a spicy tuna. And the third one was something, it was like the JD's House Special Roll, which was awesome because it actually had like elements of like bacon cheeseburger in there. It was really good.
Right.
And and then I drove back home, hung out with the fam. It was a really, really good Saturday for the most part, and I was stoked. My plan is the weather doesn't look fantastic going through next weekend. I kind of want to go back and hit it up again. In fact, I may even want to go and sample. There's another body of water that's out that way that I may want to go look at. I might just take advantage of the fact that it's going to be so cold. My expectations for getting a bite will be much lower, so I might want to just go and graph this other area and learn as much as I can about it. So, Joe, if I do go, the offer's there. Feel free to jump on the boat.
I appreciate it.
I did drop that. And what did you say? You were like, oh, I've got some shit going on. Oh, no, you were going ice fishing. Why don't you go ahead and pick it up? What was your fishy shit like?
So it didn't end up being very fishy as we talked in private. So, we had that warm spell come in and,
really warm too, like 60.
Yeah. And the boys wanted to go, but, I went, checked it out, and the edges were like completely blown out in a couple spots I checked. And, when I was younger by myself or with some friends, I would have planked it, dude.
Yeah.
Got a piece of plywood, put it down, and fucking made my way over the blown out edges.
Yep.
Not doing that with the boys, dude. Not risking that with the boys. So, we kind of just ended up, unfortunately didn't go. And just kind of did some stuff. We did some fishy stuff around the house. We organized some stuff for an upcoming Whatnot show. They helped me with that. Perfect. And just like, dude, I got like 75 boxes sitting next to me, by the way, that I got to get out. But
that's awesome, dude.
Dude, I've been packing boxes the last 2 days, but I'll get into that later. But so it didn't end up being too fishy. They understood. I was like, hey guys, like I'm all about risk with myself. I was like, but not with you guys. I'm not. And they were bummed at first, but then they understood it. They know we're gonna get out, and actually, I ended up getting them some real. Actually, it's gonna be from Emma, but I got them each some really nice tip ups for Christmas that they're gonna be getting their own. So some nice heritage. One of them's getting all blue ones. One of them's getting all red ones.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, because they'll fucking fight over them if they're the same color, and we can't have that. But dude, like right now, we are fucking running out of places to hide Christmas gifts in our house.
I bet, dude,
it's awful. Like our room was just like getting crowded. I was like, okay, we're done here. I got some in Meg's office. There's some that haven't left my truck. Like it's just,
oh yeah,
I'm about to start giving them to him now, dude. So it's it didn't turn out to be too fishy, which is a bummer. But but I did, like I mentioned, I did another Whatnot show over the weekend.
Yep.
Yeah, you were in on that one. You were checking that one out.
That was cool. I had it playing while I was editing. It was great. Yeah, I was loving it.
Yeah, it was a fun one, dude. It was a fun one. Made out really well. Dude, I just I think you can kind of see now why I just like have fun with it, dude. Like
I totally do. Yeah.
It's a good time. Like the packaging, everything kind of blows, but it is what it is. Like a lot of these were like like a lot of the shows, you'll get like 15 people that just like buy a bunch of shit.
Yep.
So you don't have to, but this one, there was a lot of singles. So I had like shit out of, I think I had like 75 orders on this one. And there was like 55 different buyers. So it's, 55 different packages.
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah, it was fun, man. Yeah, Todd was in there. Todd ended up getting something and on this one.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was a good time, man. I got it was actually funny. I need these tariffs to stop, dude. When I get these baits from Japan, I gotta pay this tariff.
Oh yeah, dude. It's crazy.
Crazy. Dude, that shit's gotta stop. But yeah, so I got another big package coming in today. I got one hung up in Alaska because they didn't like the description of the package. So now the spot out in Japan has to resend paperwork to them. So that's great. Yeah, dude, it's fun. The ice fishing will come.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's only a matter of time. The weather's here. I know I saw people out yesterday when I was out running some errands, but it's coming, dude. It's coming. We're going to get out there.
Binya got out on the ice yesterday.
Good.
He was searching all over the place. I was actually on the boat and he texted me. He was like, dude, I just found a spot that's got 6 inches. He's like, and it's supposed to stay cold. I was like, dude, that's awesome. Good for you. I was like, I am on the boat right now. I was like, we are not the same. And I'm like, we're both in New England. Wow, how freaking crazy is that shit? I got to throw the cover on the boat, though, today. Actually, after I'm done recording the show, I'm going to go and grab a bunch of tackle out of there that I want to go and clean up and reorganize and all that stuff and throw the cover on and all that shit. But, yeah, dude, it was really cool watching you do the auction live as I'm going through. And at first, I was like, I don't know what I was thinking. I was like, oh, Joe's probably got, like, the garage set up with, like, the Price is Right, like, fucking background and shit. And he's, like, going and doing all this. And I was like, no, it's literally just what you're watching is him showing the baits. And I was like, that makes perfect sense because nobody cares about you doing it's the products. They want to see the products up front. And I was like, that makes perfect sense. I'm like, that's fucking absolutely badass, man. That is absolutely badass. I still think you might be onto something if you were to do take that footage, just screen record the whole thing. Yeah. And then use that as YouTube content from here and there. I think there's something there. Somebody's going to be, or even if all you did was just run the auction with like captions on the side and you just talked about like whatever, tackle tips. I think there are people would just be like, oh, that's fucking cool. Yeah. And then somebody would download that app and be like, oh, might as well check this out. This seems kind of sweet. I like Mega Bass.
It's crazy, dude. It's crazy how popular and how collectible that Mega Bass shit is, man.
100%. Zek chimes in. He's one of our jig heads. He chimes in. He goes, from here on out, we get more sunlight every day. This gives me hope. Brother, you said it all right there. It's the final countdown before things start to improve. That's the way I look at it. It's a long, slow, arduous process, but we will get there. We do have some shit to talk about, though, that is not fishy related, but does have an impact on the show. So jig heads that are here, you might have noticed that in our Jigs and Bigs Patreon. So back up a little information. The jig heads are our followers over on Patreon, where they pay a monthly subscription. They get access to the live stream version of this as we record it. So any kind of tangents or anything like that, we will cut out. They are here for. They're watching the sausage get made, so to speak. On top of that, they also get some exclusive offers anytime that we have some stuff that we can pitch to the jig heads and try and, engage them in any kind of way. So there's definitely benefits that are there. The other part of it that's cool is that they get to engage with us actually during the recording, like I just mentioned Zek. So, it's been a rough, when did I start? August? We stopped doing the Monday nights. It was like mid-August. So I would say for the last 4 months, we have been playing like leapfrog with the time and the dates that we've been recording on. And Joe, I got to give both of us a round of applause for that one because we've never missed a show. Like we've had a show every single week, and it's never been an issue. It's been close. We have made it happen. So this week, I may have even mentioned this before, that I am, I did an event recently, and it got me thinking. This event, it was a corporate event for a huge corporate client. And it was out of a little bit of my comfort zone for my company as far as the size of the event. So I hosted a game show for 340 people at this company. Most of the time, my game shows, I'm doing more like 100 people. And that's on the higher end. This was a lot right there. And it was one of these things where I actually had to make a little bit of investment in some gear to make sure I could pull it off. And it went great. I was not concerned with my role in it or anything, or like how I was going to handle it. I just didn't want to see any of the equipment come short, and it all worked out really well. Anyway, I got an amazing review from the woman that hired me, like an amazing 5-star review. And it got me thinking. I'm like, since the pandemic, right, when I wasn't able to host my game show in bars and restaurants, and thus Jigs and Bigs was created, I have really kind of held the bar business real tight to my chest, because that's like every week, that's my regular income. You know what I mean? I've kind of based it on that. And I made a decision after that. I think that I have to pivot a little bit with the way that I'm running my business. And what that means is I'm going to put more emphasis on the individual events, and I'm going to lean into the corporate world, specifically for game shows and stuff. Like, I'm still doing weddings and everything like that, and all holiday parties, reunions, you name it. I'm available for all events, but I'm trying to pivot and put a little bit of effort more into the corporate space. Primarily because the economy is in the fucking toilet right now. But if anybody has the money to spend on events,
it's your corporate entities.
Whether they'll admit to it or not, like, I can actually get my rate doing this. And it also, like, there's flexibility there. So my thought is this. I've been wanting for a while to make a change to my trivia schedule. I'm not going to just go dropping a bunch of accounts. I did recently drop one that was a late night Thursday night because it just wasn't working out. And I try to run like a relatively clean business. If something's not working for one of my accounts, I will pull the plug, because it doesn't work for them to just spend money, and I feel bad taking their money. Plus, it doesn't look great for me if, like, there's this one night where nobody's necessarily showing up. So
sure.
I made another decision this week, and it was last Friday. I went to go do my Friday game show, and things this year have been really tough over on Fridays, primarily because there's a lot of cancellation happening. It's Friday, they will have events that are in that space. They've recently made the decision that instead of putting me into the main restaurant in the bar area there, that they would just have me cancel. This was only a few months ago, and on top of that, like, if I've got a Friday event or I've just got something on a Friday that I want to do, I have to cancel. And a couple of times, it hasn't happened in years, but due to their geographic location, they compete a lot with some local seasonal events. And there was one night where I cleared out the entire day. I went down to go do my event. Nobody showed up, and they're like, "Yeah, I don't think we're going to do trivia." I was like, "Well, I'm here," and I was like, "Okay, cool." It was an absolute waste. In my mind, I put a little earmarker there, and I was like, if this happens again, I think I'm going to have to pull a plug on here. So how does this affect the show? Starting this week, recording the Jigs and Bigs podcast will now happen on Fridays. Regularly on Friday evenings. If I have an event in the evening or Joe's not available or something like that, we might do it a little bit earlier that day. But Friday is going to be Jigs and Bigs day. And this is a good thing for the jig heads, because now the jig heads get a little bit of a regular calendar where they kind of know exactly what's happening. They're like, okay, we can go. And also, jig heads, this might actually help. A lot of folks don't know this. This is the lowest population we've had of jig heads since we started in 2020. And it's got to do, I think, if you look at it, when people would drop their membership, and I get it, they weren't able to get in. So what I'm hoping is we might get some of those folks back and some new jig heads as well to go and be part of it as well. Because that community is it's the best thing about this show is the interaction with the jig heads and everything. And I've had the pleasure of meeting many of you, and I think that is absolutely awesome. So there's good stuff to be had. I think also we should, what else was there to talk about before we get into some of this other good stuff? I don't think we have anything before Just the Tip. We got Bailey Eigbrett coming up. I don't know if you've ever listened to the Serious Angler podcast, Joe, but
Yeah.
they put out some really, really good content. And Bailey and I have a great conversation. I got to kind of like playfully talk Buffalo with him because, I mean, he's a Buffalo guy, Western New York, you know.
Yeah.
And I know a thing or two about Buffalo. And I put him on. I asked him this question. And I want to know what your choice is. So I asked him a question. I was like, so we're talking Buffalo food, right? Famous food city. I go, what in your opinion is better, Bailey? Is it the Buffalo classic, the beef on wick, right? I don't know if you're familiar with that is, Joe.
I'm not.
It's a roast beef sandwich on like this salted Kaiser roll, and it's like the signature sandwich in Buffalo.
Okay.
The other one, the fucking Buffalo Stinger. And
I don't know what that is either.
The Stinger, I only learned about the last couple of years. Matty Matheson, one of my favorite creators, food creators specifically, Matty Matheson did a video where he made one. It's essentially a cheesesteak, but it has buffalo chicken tenders inside it as well.
Interesting. So
you know that Bobby Roast Beef has the palate sometimes of a seventh grader, but also of like a major market food critic at the same time. I have my own opinions. I've never actually had a beef on wick, and with a Stinger, I can kind of figure out what it's all about. Bailey will answer that question, and then we talk Buffalo because you can't talk Buffalo food and not talk wings.
Right.
And I was amazed that I mentioned to him. I was like, "So, what's your go-to spot?" Or, for wings out there. And I was like, is he going to say the Tourist Trap Anchor Bar? Is he going to say, and actually he and I align of our favorite wing spot in Buffalo.
Okay.
100% aligned. Like, and I will fight a Buffalo native in a parking lot over my opinion here. And he and I agree I'm like, we're just kindred spirits. So I'm hoping to drag him out next time I'm up at the St. Lawrence. And we talked a little bit about we talked a lot about content creation. And like, we obviously talked fishing and stuff, but it was a really good interview. You guys are going to love it. It's good stuff. Oh, I think that about kind of covers this week.
I think so.
I think we're pretty good. Why don't we take a short break? We're going to come back around, folks. In this week's Just the Tip segment, we're basically talking about electronics, the tool and the crutch that some folks use. We're going to talk about, do electronics catch fish, or is it about decisions? We'll talk about that coming up. We got an FTG, one of our jig heads in the house, John Carter, called this sucker in, calling somebody out in our FTG segment. And in the live well this week, we're going to be talking about cutting edge, like right at the front lines, baits, brands, things that you got to know about. Eli Self has a great question. We're going to talk about all this stuff. Don't go too far. More jigs and bigs coming up right after
this.
And perhaps play a little game called Just the Tip. Just for a second, just to see how it feels. Or ouch, ouch, you're on my hair.
Okay.
We got a good one, guys. All right, time for Just the Tip. And this one is for any of you out there who have ever stared at a screen so long that you forgot that you were actually on the boat fishing. Electronics don't catch fish. Decisions catch fish. Now, before anybody out there loses their absolute mind, this isn't anti-electronics. If you fish tournaments, modern electronics are basically a table standard. But here's where things start to go a little sideways. Tournament fishing and fun fishing are not the same game. And a lot of guys use their electronics the same way for both. In a tournament, electronics will help you to be efficient. You eliminate water that way, you can manage your time better, and you're making calculated risks. In fun fishing, electronics should be there to help you learn, not stress you out. What I happen to see all the time is in somebody like fun fishing, marking fish and then immediately spiraling out of control, changing baits, repositioning the boat, second guessing everything. And I say that I see that all the time. A lot of times that's me. A lot of times that is me. And that's information overload. It's decision paralysis. Tournament guys, on the other hand, use electronics to commit. Weekend anglers use electronics to panic. Here's the truth. Electronics tell you where fish are. What they don't tell you is why they're there. And they definitely don't tell you how they want to eat on that particular day. Some of the worst decisions I've ever made fishing happened when I trusted the screen more than I trusted my own instincts. I've pulled baits away from fish that were just about to bite. I've left productive water way too early, and I've overthought myself right out of success, all because I was fishing the graph instead of fishing the conditions. And the best anglers that I know, especially the good tournament ones, they don't chase fish that are on the screen. They'll make a decision first and then use electronics to support that decision, not the other way around, not to replace it. So here's this week's actual tip. When you mark fish, don't immediately change baits. First, change how you're fishing the bait you already believe in. Boat angle, speed, cadence, line size, the amount of time you're spending in the strike zone. Tournament fishing is about efficiency. Fun fishing should be about understanding. If you're not under the gun, slow down. Let the fish tell you something. At the end of the day, the screen doesn't set the hook. It's you that sets the hook. Electronics do not catch fish. Decisions are what catch fish. What do you think, Joe?
I think you're 100% right. I mean, we've talked about this on the show so many times in the past. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter what electronics you have. Just because you have electronics doesn't mean the fish is like, oh, he's got down scan. Oh, got a bite now. Or, live scope, got a bite. No, you still have to. Yeah, cool. You may have spotted the fish, but you still have to, understand what species that might be. Yep. You still have to catch the fish, figure out a pattern that is going to get them to bite, whether it's, whether they're feeding or it's just going to be a reaction strike, or if they're going to strike or bite at all. I mean, it's not a gimme just because you're running electronics.
Oh yeah. And you could know that there's fish in this one area. This the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because this is what I was running into just this last weekend when I was on the water. Like, I was marking fish. I was finding stuff that looked kind of sexy on side scan, and I would go over and switch to down scan, and I would just cruise over just to see those marks that were showing up. And I saw these fish, they were on the bottom, and I'm like, how lethargic are they? I'm going to throw some stuff and see what I can figure out. So I went and at first I was basically, I would fish something I had a ton of confidence in. Just a 3-inch swim bait, on a heavy enough head to get it down as deep as where I was fishing, where I saw these fish, and I would basically just swim it just over the top. So I'd tick a rock or tick the bottom and then pick it up a little bit. And I was doing like quarter turns just to keep it nice and slow. Yeah. Let it sit sometimes and then pick it back up and let it go. I tried a jerk bait to see if that long pause would be enough to kind of entice them and kind of get them to come up. It was not. And then I moved to a bottom bait, and eventually made the decision that if I was finding fish, I was going to just drag that finesse jig on the bottom. Or even better, if I had to get really, really, really finessey with the presentation, I was actually throwing this really small, it's like a minnow bait from Great Lakes Finesse. I forget the name of it. I'll post a picture. Oh,
I know what one you're talking about. I can't think of the name, but I know what one you're talking about.
And it's so tiny. And I was like, I had my leader, the amount of line between my hook and weight, it was only about 6 or 7 inches. So it was pretty close to the bottom. And I was throwing a relatively heavy, like a 1/2 ounce drop shot weight too. So I was able to just count like anything hard on the bottom. I was able to just know exactly where it was, and I just soak that minnow, and nothing. And based on the conditions with the increase in temperature we had a few days beforehand, them coming off of that as things were cooling down, all of these things have some type of an impact on these fish. The other thing too that I've witnessed firsthand is I've been in bodies of water that don't see a ton of like boat traffic. You know what I mean? Like in the past, like I've been on my kayak and I'll go over with my, 2D sonar or something, and I'll find fish. and I can't get them to bite. I just can't get them to bite. Nothing, so I might leave for like half an hour, and I've done this. And I have a body of water where there's not a lot of boat traffic. These fish aren't hearing that sonar. You know what I mean? Like they don't hear it regularly. So that in itself, like you might try to be stealthy getting up to them, but then you've got bing, bing, that's like they're able to hear that. It's noise. And I've done it in the past where I've just shut off my sonar and I'm like, all right, go ahead. We'll creep over to this spot. What is nice is that on my Lowrance hook unit, I can just shut the sonar off, but I can keep the graph. So what I'll do is when I see them, I'll mark that spot on my map, and then I'll go back to that area, but with the sonar off.
Yeah.
And it works. It works really, really nice. Cause then you're like, yeah, I am actually on there. Or I'll position myself in a spot and then make a cast. And I've caught fish where I'm like, maybe there's something to be said there. So like I mentioned, like all of the variables plus your variables, line size. People don't think about that stuff all the time. Cadence is a big one. Don't change a bait necessarily. Start with the things that you can change while that presentation is in the water. The rod's in your hand. Just change the way that you're working it. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's just one of those things that got me thinking, because there are a lot of folks that do have this opinion that like, oh, electronics means that you're just going to catch the fish. Like, where they are. Yes, it's a tool. John Carter says using the tool as a tool, 100%, 100%, dude. Freaking good stuff. Speaking of John Carter, are you ready for this?
Fuck that guy. Fuck that guy. Fuck that guy.
Bobby, Joe, John Carter here. I am going to submit my first FTG. You guys were talking about posers wearing Bass Pro hats. Well, I had my first one today, and I didn't really call him out right away until I showed him a couple pictures of some pretty prominent bass fishing people, stars, whatever you want to call them. And I showed him Kevin Van Dam, Phil Dance, Jimmy Houston, and I forget the other one, but that's okay. He failed at 3 of them out of the 4. And I called him out. I said, dude, you're a poser. Take the hat off. You don't even know what fishing is. You don't even fish. Fuck that guy.
Love that shit. John, I'm curious, which was the one that he knew? I'm curious, because we're lucky in this instance because we've got John right here in the chat. What was the one that he did get right? I'm curious, because all those are faces for sure. And Joe and I, we talked a little bit about this beforehand. It's like, man, there is this culture of people that are, and I think it's primarily like an age demographic that they just think like wearing the Bass Pro hats are like super cool and trendy. Like it's just like a thing. And I mean, on the one hand, I get how it's like kind of irritating because like as an angler, we use this apparel that we're wearing. Like Joe's wearing some, I'm wearing some. Like people look at me, this is like my going out. This is like my nice hat, right? This Daiwa hat. I go out and people, they'll look at me and they'll be like, hey, is that a Daiwa hat? And I'm like, hell yeah, it is, brother. And I'll have a conversation. Next thing, oh, he didn't get a single one right. Oh, I thought you said he got 1 out of the 4. Oh, all right. Okay. Yeah, that's even worse. So like we use this stuff to kind of like in the wild identify each other, and it's a nice way to be like, because we're like children, you know what I mean? Really, at the end of the day, we're like, oh yeah, you like a thing that I like. Let's talk about that, Sure. People are socially fucked up. We really are in a lot of ways. And, it's funny because people will, they get really, really upset. I see this with like music t-shirts too. You know what I'm talking about. The whole like
name 3 Misfits songs.
Name
3 Nirvana songs.
Shit like that. Like Oh, he goes, he thought they were NASCAR drivers. Dude, that's a detail you should have put in the call. That is hilarious. Oh, my God. The names I could see. Oh, yeah, Jimmy Houston. I saw him in Indy and blah, 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 blah.
So the only devil's advocate I have for this, John, is, if he was a younger kid, if you asked him who like Mike Iaconelli or like Ben Milliken or like, the dude there from Guggen, like one of them, I wonder if he would have got any of those.
Maybe. Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, because like we do kind of take like KVD is a good example. Like his face is on baits everywhere.
Sure.
But like Jimmy Houston and Bill Dance, that he might not be as like deep in the culture.
Yeah.
With some of that.
I mean, John B.
Yeah.
I just barely made like the age cutoff to where I was watching Bill Dance on Saturday mornings on my, sitting on my floor in my living room as a young kid, you know?
You know what's funny? I never watched Bill Dance as a kid. Like never. But you know who I did watch a lot? Was Jimmy Houston. A lot of Jimmy Houston.
Yeah.
A lot. And then later in life, I started following like Roland Martin on YouTube and stuff. In fact, like it was Paul that got me into watching Roland Martin. He's like, oh yeah, there's this older guy that I watch. He's wicked smart, knows all kinds of shit. And he's like, and then like from there, it was just a downward spiral for content. Jay Manning says, he goes, I think a lot of kids ironically wear them as a way to make fun of people who are into fishing. In a way, I get that. He says, totally, Joe. He's our age.
Oh, he's our age. Oh, okay. Oh, that changes the game.
Wow. And if he's our age and he's following the practice like Jay Manning said about, wearing them as a way to kind of ironically and make fun of folks that are into fishing. It's funny because like, I went like it was when I was at Chickamauga. I was fishing with my buddy Paul. We were on Caleb Bell's boat, right? And we were running from spot to spot. And I said to Paul, I was like, dude, if he's strapping the rods down on the deck and we're getting ready to go anywhere, I was like, take your hat and turn it backwards. He's like, oh, all right.
I remember this, yeah.
I lost one of my favorite fucking hats ever, my Lockwood fishing hat. I had it on backwards, but Paul went to go, he was like, oh shit, and he turned his hat around and he knocked my head and knocked the hat right off of me. And it went flying. I was like, it's fine. I got the worst sunburn that day, dude. It was so bad.
That was like Jeremiah losing the Dark Horse tackle hat when we hit that giant wake on the St. Lawrence River.
Oh yeah, dude. I was not happy, but we went to Bass Pro and I'm like, I need a hat. I was like, I need a hat. And I was like, these are cheap. So I picked one up and it was right before that whole thing kind of took off. And then I was like, hold on a second. This has got to go. And my daughter my oldest has since like made that part of her wardrobe. The thing is that Chloe likes to fish. Like she'll wear that when she comes out to fish with me. When I went out with Kayla and Kyle, when I brought them out as clients on the fish whistle charters, they were all wearing like fishing attire, like it was like ironic, you know what I mean? But they're like, because they just don't know. Shit, Chloe's girlfriend, I bought her a hat up at Tits.
Oh, nice.
Right?
Yeah.
I was like, Rach will love this. I'm going to bring her this hat. She will absolutely love it. I think she's actually worn it to a couple of events. I'm like, sweet.
Dude, I'll be honest. I mean, I wear my Bass Pro hat. I'm allowed to wear them. Yeah. I actually love the way I actually really like the fit and the style of them. But I can wear them.
That makes sense though. Cause you with me, it's not flat enough of a bill. Like it doesn't work with my face the right way.
Okay.
Like I got sent, it cost me tens of thousands of dollars, but I got a Lund hat sent to me as a Lund owner. And this is like my grocery getter hat. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's so curved. It's like a dad hat. I'm like, it doesn't fit my face right.
It's a hat that says, I bought a brand new London. All I got was a stinking hat.
Pretty much. No, it says 75th anniversary and it's white and gray. It's like
wicked off topic. story. My best friend Mike, his house burnt down on his 12th birthday.
Oh no. Okay.
On his 12th birthday. And someone got him a shirt and he wore it to school that said, it was my my house burned down on my birthday and all I got was this stinking shirt.
That's fucking fantastic, dude. That's amazing. Wow. That is fucked up right there.
Still to this day, because I remember, I was poor as fuck, growing up. And somehow I got my hands on some, I don't know if my parents bought it or whatever. I had a North Face jacket. Like, I was like, dude, I got a
You're
North
balling.
Face. This is
hell
sick.
Yeah, baby.
Dude, I left it at his house. So
And it
like,
burned?
so it burned. So it's still to this day at 41 years old. I'll be like, dude, my first fucking North Face, you had to go and fucking burn it to a crisp.
That's fucking hilarious. Oh God, that is fucked up right there. Oh, but yeah, I feel like I get it. It's frustrating, people are out there rocking Bass Pro stuff and we get all excited and want to talk about it with them and they're like, oh bro, no, I wear this for the bitches. And be like, listen.
There's no bitches in fishing.
There is not
There's
one.
definitely
No,
not.
there's a couple. But
Not
they're
bitches like
they're
that.
unicorns, dude.
Yeah, no. I'm talking about bitches like that. Fishing has never gotten anybody bitches.
No, no.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no.
Even the women that fish, like, they're
Yeah.
they're ostracized from their friend groups primarily.
Yeah,
because they're into this weird.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
It's like Pokemon with wild animals. Let's just be honest what it is. That's what it is.
Pokemon
look
Go
at
with
this.
fucking yeah.
It's a hybrid, such and such. That's what the male of this.
Gotta catch 'em all.
That's all I got right there. My goodness. All right. Pretty good segment too, but we're just getting things ready. We got Bailey Eigbrett in the beef seat in this next episode. And we got some conversation we have to have in the live well with a great question brought to us by the one and only Eli Self. We'll see you guys in a bit. Don't go too far. Much more Jigs and Bigs coming up right after this. Alrighty, guys. Bobby Roast Beef back here. We got a guest in the beef seat this week on Jigs and Bigs, and it's a good one. We have Bailey Eigbrett. You might know him from a little podcast called Serious Angler, but he's also one hell of an angler making a splash, not only in tournament fishing, but also in the industry. Bailey, welcome to the show, dude.
Thanks, man. I appreciate the invite.
You are a true blue northern angler, and you've been in the outdoors your entire life. And I think probably most of our audience is pretty familiar with you. But if you could just kind of bring everybody up to speed for those that don't know you, like how did you fall in love with the outdoors? Where'd the passion kind of get to you? And it's kind of been from all angles too, because like you're all about deer season too. Like dive into it.
Yeah, so I'm basically born and raised here, Finger Lakes, New York. And my grandfather are completely to blame for this lifelong addiction and why my wallet will never be very full, because I'm spending all my stuff on hunting and fishing stuff.
Name it again.
But dude, I caught my first bass and couldn't even remember catching it. I was so young. My dad just likes to tell the story because I cried when I touched it. And had me in the deer stand before I could even have a memory that I was in the deer stand. It was, I'm very fortunate in that regard, but now I'm just a full-time content creating, kayak fishing, deer hunting dude that now is stuck here in Buffalo, snowy New York.
Oh yeah, dude. You're in one hell of a snow city too. You really are, man.
For sure.
You've got a lot of stuff going on, and I mean, you've stuck with it. Like you've been into the outdoors like from the beginning. Like it's been a part of your life. Like hockey too. You're a big hockey guy as well, right?
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I thought that was going to, I was just the cliche telling my mom when I was 6 years old, I'm going to be in the NHL. I'm going to buy you a house. And then lo and behold, 18 years old, that didn't happen. We had to choose a new career path.
But
yeah,
that's just kind of the way it works. I think for a lot of folks, when they have things that they're passionate about, and then life comes along and changes things. But you're I would say right now you're living the dream. And I think you came up just on the 1 year anniversary of being full-time content creator right now. I mean, for those that are curious, the only thing that I could probably compare that to is when I told my wife I wanted to leave my job of almost 20 years working in television to host trivia and bars and DJ private events. And she looked at me like I was on crack. Are you going to be able to actually create this income? How has it been since then? What's the road been like? Have there ever been how many moments have you had where you've been oh shit, this is where I know I fucked up?
I haven't had one of those yet. I'm going to knock on wood while I say it. I mean, there's always self-doubt, right? There's always self-doubt. There's always the imposter syndrome. And I'm very guilty of that. But
same.
Honestly, outside of marrying my wife, this was the greatest decision I've ever made in my 28 years. And it's been incredible. The years flown by. But it was more I didn't make the jump and have no safety net. It was, I did it. It was more calculated risk.
Smart. Yeah.
But it's been the greatest thing for me in my business and entrepreneurial goals. It's been amazing for, my wife and I have so much more time back now where it used to be I was getting 5 hours of sleep because I was waking up at 5, working on stuff till I'd work my full-time job. And then I get off the full-time job, say a quick hello to my wife, then back to the content editing, all that jazz and podcast stuff. And we have so much more time now. And it's mental health, physical health it's just unbelievable. I wouldn't trade it for anything. And it's just got to keep working harder and being more innovative to keep.
I hear from a lot of folks that they'll look at my lifestyle, since the way my life has changed since I got out of the regular grind working for somebody else. I'm man, I wish I could do that. And I fully agree with everybody. This isn't for everybody, but if you can adapt to make it work, it's the best thing for those folks that kind of need this to kind of be their own boss and kind of, be motivated and do the things that they got to do to just, put food on the table, keep the heat in the house, all that kind of stuff. So, man, good for you, dude. You're absolutely killing it. And you're young. So let's dive back to the early days of Serious Angler podcast. When did you launch Serious Angler? And what was the vision that first few months?
So it started back in 2019, August 2019. So we're going on over 6 years now. And it started because I was doing an internship at University of Notre Dame for their athletic department to complete my master's degree. And essentially what I thought was I was going to go work 40 hours a week at this internship, get to fish in Indiana and Michigan, and got some buddies out that way. And quickly turned into, hey, we have you working on all these fall sports. We're going to put you on all fall and all winter. And so my 40-hour week turned into 90-hour internship and had zero time to fish.
Yeah.
And I was telling my buddy about it a couple of weeks in, and I was like, dude, this is just miserable. I like what I do. It's awesome to be around this environment of just hardworking, driven people. But I'm like, I don't get to fish, man. I need that in my life. And just because I've never had the dream of being a pro angler or anything like that. I've just been so ate up with just the learning aspect and just improving.
Oh yeah.
And that was for me, why I was so upset I couldn't fish. And my buddy's like, well, dude, you're already a Joe Rogan nut. Start a fishing podcast. And I'm like, you're nuts, dude. Nobody wants to listen to me talk. And basically, long story short, he's just like, well, even if you don't post them, you can just phase it as you're basically interviewing anglers and you're learning from them. I'm like, oh, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah, it's a great idea. Yeah.
It's I'll just give it a shot. And he's like, just call Serious Angler because you always take things pretty serious. And I was like,
done deal.
All right, it's an easy way out. Let's just do whatever. The logo that we still have for the podcast today is one that he whipped up on some logo photo app back in 2019. And
that's awesome.
Cheap way out, but it started out as just low key Zoom call deal that was super unprofessional, super unstructured. And just honestly, there was no consistency besides the fact there could be 1 episode a week or 5 episodes a week. There was no rhythm to it. It's just until I got home from that internship, and that was where the peak COVID shutdown hit.
Yeah.
And so it's well, I got nothing else to do besides build up this podcast. And that is where I kind of realized like, maybe there is something to this. I don't know if it could ever get me anywhere, but like I'm meeting a lot of cool people. I'm learning a bunch about the industry and I'm getting better at fishing. Let's just see what we can do with this thing. And
those
awesome.
Those are all massive perks. You know, for anybody who's driven to do, like I always say, like I worked 20 years in television, and I genuinely thought like I needed to work in media. You know what I mean? Like I needed to be. That's what I went to college for. Like, I mean, all this stuff. And I remember speaking with interns that I would work with, and I worked the weirdest shift. I would do master control overnight from like 1:45 in the morning until like 1 PM, 4 days a week. And I would run the tapes for the morning newscast, but then I would also shift gears and go and edit the noon newscast. So I would put all that stuff together. And I was like, I mean, I'm talking about, people talk about like caffeine addiction now, bro. No, I'm talking like 1,000 milligrams and no-dose at a shot multiple times a night. Like it was the worst. And plus I was playing in bands, and I was, at the time I was still DJing. I was doing private events and stuff, because shocking discovery, you don't make shit for a living working in media. You really don't. Like everybody's got some kind of another grind, like everybody. And you know, it's just, I used to tell interns all the time, I'm like, if you are the type of person where like you roll out of bed in the morning and you're like, I got to do this thing, I'm like, that's what you got to go do. And if you can find a way to make money on it, great. You know, and after like 20 years, I was like, I can't do, I don't have it in me anymore. Wife and kids and all that stuff changed and everything. But like, there are perks to, you know, chasing your passion, you know?
Yeah.
And that is absolutely badass. Now, I am curious about like, for you, the YouTube integration. Like you started recording, obviously, audio using Zoom and everything. When did you start integrating into YouTube? And what's the relationship been like with that?
From the podcast standpoint?
Yeah, from the podcast standpoint. Like, have you migrated? Is it now, is the bulk of your audience now primarily watching the show, or are they still primarily listening to the show?
Yeah, so from the Zoom standpoint, I always recorded video. So I kind of literally started the YouTube cut to coincide.
Oh, you did it at the same time. Gotcha.
The MP3.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, well, if I could go back, I would change all of how I would do that process again, because knowing what I know now about the YouTube game, I had started a YouTube channel, like the cliche Eigbrett outdoors fishing crap back in like 2012 when like.
Oh, so you were early in. You were before it kind of took right off. I kick
myself every day for not sticking with that thing. But because that was like the heyday, dude. That was like before the Guggen Squad even got together at that point.
Yeah.
And I had that channel, put some videos out, and it was dead for a while. And with how all the algorithm stuff works with pages being dead for a while, and they kind of get categorized as like a page they're not going to push because it's been dead for a while.
Yeah.
And so I started putting my podcast on there and changed the name to Serious Angler and all that stuff. And it's been pretty hard to grow on that side.
Yeah.
It's been a long battle, even to this day on the YouTube podcast side, where majority of our audience is all MP3. And so like we'll have,
same here.
You know, we'll have videos that are consistent, like over 1,000 views type of stuff on YouTube, but like, you know, it's not, you know, strange for us to have 500 views on a YouTube video, or it's like, man, that kind of sucks. But like podcasts in general on YouTube, unless you are famous, like a pro athlete, or you are already established, like you're Kevin Van Dam or Dave Mersch, something like that, it is very hard to get views on YouTube,
dude.
And so it's a tough game, especially being as saturated as it is now. And
well, you make a really good point. Like it helps to have that audience already there, but like I have recently kind of folks, since we started, they're like, oh, you should do the show on YouTube. And I'm like, have you watched the show? Really, it was like after the first year of Jigs and Bigs, like that's when we started going to like average 2.5 to 3 hour episodes on average. Like we've had episodes that are almost 5 hours long. Which is stupid, but that's because like Jigs and Bigs is like, it's kind of like the Howard Stern podcast. You know what I mean? Like that's our niche in fishing, is to provide entertainment, community, all that stuff. So if the show's going to be a short show, for us is 90 minutes, you know, and I just feel like that's a really big ask to make somebody watch a talking head, essentially, you know, like a split screen talking head for hours. Like that's just crazy.
Absolutely.
So I don't know when it was, but I discovered like only a couple of years ago that like YouTube, you could take your RSS feed and run it, and it would take the artwork from your show and drop it as the video. and just play the show. I was like, done. This way, like the big thing is there. If that's the format they want to listen to the show on, they can consume it. Great. We get some listens over there, but I just don't know that like we're necessarily there. So there's stuff I'm trying to do from the YouTube thing because it's only been a little over a year now. And like you talk about like 500 views. I have like 3 videos that have hit 1K, right? And all my other ones are in that like 200 to 300 in that window for views. Some of them are like 60 views, and it's just like for whatever reason they just don't take off. So it's one of those things where like there is this weird relationship where YouTube is definitely a platform in the podcast niche, but you do. I think you nailed it. Like it totally helps to be famous. It totally
does.
helps,
and granted, for most people like that, obviously there's a reason why they're there, right?
Like
they had that hard work to get to that point, but it is definitely, there is a leg up to already having that fan base, that platform for when you do launch. Or even like the Kelsey brothers, when they started their podcast, obviously they have a fan base before they go to a podcast. So it's like a lot easier to kind of almost set the stage of how you go moving forward, where it's like, for us starting our shows, it was like, well, I know at least maybe my mom will listen to the first episode. I don't know who else is going to listen, but like, let's just see what happens. You know what I mean?
It's true, dude.
Like, and hey, here today, we've got my grandma in it now too. So we got 2 listeners.
There you go. Hey, sometimes that's all you need is a couple of dedicated listeners. Let me ask you this. Joe, my co-host Joe and I were talking recently and we're like, isn't it the craziest shit when like we'll meet, not like at an expo or something when you meet people, but like just getting gas. Has anybody been like, oh, Bailey, I watch your stuff. I listen to your podcast. Like, have you been recognized in public?
Yeah, dude. And it's the weirdest thing, especially when I'm out with my wife.
I was just going to ask about that.
Yeah. She loves it. Cause obviously she likes to see my hard work and all that stuff come to fruition. But like, I'm one of those people, dude, where it's like, if you want to make me really uncomfortable, give me a compliment and I will, I have no idea what to do. Like, I'm just like thank you. Like, I don't know. It's one of my red flags, dude. I'm so bad about compliments. And, but it is really, really cool, man. I'll say that I love meeting the folks that do listen and just seeing like, there's some times where I go through like the hustle and bustle of things and I put out a show and I'm like, man, this is good information, but like, are we actually making an impact? Are we actually doing something unique and different from other people? Yeah. And then I'll get DMs or I'll get somebody that comes up to me at the classic or like comes up to me at a ramp that some random state I'm fishing in and they'll recognize me and they'll talk about a show. And it's like, okay, maybe it did impact it. Like that's
crazy when it comes around full circle.
Everything, dude. Yeah.
That's so awesome. Cool, man.
I love it. Even though I don't know how to, if you see me in public and I don't know how to react to you saying hello, that's why.
That is,
I'm an extroverted introvert, if that makes sense.
I totally get that, man. I totally get that. Because, like, I'm in front of crowds of people every single night on a microphone. And people show up to see me do my thing. And I am like, all right, sweet. That's awesome. But somebody says something nice. And I'm just like, you're too kind. Oh, my God. I am an absolute degenerate. And I'll shoot myself. I totally get it. I completely get it. Although, like, the nice thing is, too, like, with your show, like, ratio-wise is, like, really, like, high value. You know, folks that are tuning into Serious Angler, they're picking up a lot of information and stuff. So, like, when people come back with stories, that's got to hit really good for you when people are like, oh, hey, I was listening to your episode about glide baits, and I think I'm finally starting to unlock it, you know? Like, that's got to help a ton.
It does. It really does. And especially when it's like stories of catches or PBs caught, stuff like that. That is like, dude, that lights a fire back in me for the next couple months. Like, and for people that have sent that stuff, like I save that. Like I have a folder of it where I save just to like, you know, there's days where you're dragging ass in the morning where you're just like, I don't want to do anything today. And I look at those and that lights a fire and I just keep going. Like it means the world to see that kind of thing, because as anglers, we get it. Like when we go catch the biggest fish of our life type of deal, like that feeling you get, I want everybody to feel that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's
100%. Yeah.
The whole reason we do this thing. It's obviously what else better to do than talk bassing.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever. I do love. So you just did a merch drop, just this week, and that also is another thing. Like when I see folks, like I like to say, oh, I spotted a Jigs and Bigs sticker or a Jigs and Bigs hat in the wild. That makes my life. It just makes my life. I'm like, that is great. But like very, very cool when people are just like, yeah, we want to support you enough to like represent your brand, you know, whether it be for content or like for bait makers, it's the same thing. Like I was talking with, who the hell was I talking with? Corey from HH Customs. And we were talking about like, you know, their logos. I was like, I see, you know, Zach at a show. And or I you know, we have him online. He's wearing the HH Customs hat. I'm like, that's freaking awesome. Or I see folks even on social media like rocking like, and it's just there's sort of like a camaraderie. You're just like, okay, so they kind of know what's up. They follow Serious Angler. Yeah. They know the deal. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's a nice pat on the back.
It's cool, like when you're out like at a football game or something completely non-endemic.
Yep.
And you see somebody wearing like you see somebody wearing a Daiwa hat, you're like, okay, I know you fish.
Yep.
Like I get like
100%.
We are one of the same. Like you get that. And so yeah, it's when we've tried to do apparel before and I just did it terribly wrong. Like from just not understanding how margins work and doing inventory and how I just ended up starting losing money on every single order, which was great because I wanted to get product out there.
Exactly.
And when people were asking for it, but like we finally figured out a process to do it the right way. Yeah. And I don't want just podcast apparel. Like we wanted cool stuff like wearing this Mount Bassmore shirt where it's just
that's
like
cool.
Mount Rushmore with bass heads. Like stuff that's fun. Like we've seen some people here and there creator wise do some lifestyle apparel and bass fishing, but like no one go full bore into stuff that's like just heavy on the bass fishing side. So we're kind of grow that side and got a bunch more stuff coming out. And it was more kind of like fun thing for us to do too. And it's we have so many people asking for apparel all the time.
For sure. And it's got to be
the right way.
It's a great way to engage too with folks. Cause then you're like, you get that. And not even just like you as the creator of that apparel line or of the content that is bringing you the apparel line, but from listeners connecting, you know?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I listen to Serious Angler too. That's a great hoodie, man. I love that. I did notice you're wearing a Rapala hat, which is kind of a big deal with you. Lately.
It is.
Yeah? Want to tell us about what's going on there?
Say what?
Want to tell us about what's going on there? Or can you yet?
Yeah. So actually just this week I put out the official video on it and I kind of had like a little bit of teaser stuff, you know, like using 13 rods and stuff in my videos, but on YouTube and on social, I put out a video to like formally like announce it. But like I signed a deal next year with Rapala, 13 Fishing, VMC, Suffix, and that for me is huge. Yep. And it's kind of a full circle moment.
Totally.
I mean, granted, I don't remember it to this day. My first bass catch, because like I said earlier, my dad likes to make fun of me for it.
Of course.
But one thing he mentioned to me when I was telling him about the fact that I have this meeting coming up at ICAST with the folks at Rapala and talking potential working together.
Yep.
And I never really talked with any bait brands. I kind of wanted to stay non-exclusive in that regard, but Rapala was always the one that like I felt almost connected to.
Yep.
And my dad's like, well, you know, your first fish you ever caught was on a Rapala, you know, the OG floating minnow. I was like, no
that
shit.
Makes sense. Yeah.
I was like, you tell me this now. 27 years later. You don't mention that, you know, my whole time growing up when you tell the story.
That could have been the juice the whole time.
Yeah, exactly. I could have used the story to my advantage, but no, he told me that. And so that for me was super cool. And it's just a historic brand, man. And it's
totally
like,
is. Yeah.
It's an awesome opportunity. And it's one that's like, I just look at like where I was in 2019, where I was, you know, in 2015, looking at myself growing up of loving this sport. And I don't know if you told my 8-year-old, 10-year-old self right now that I'm working with Rapala in 2026 and beyond, like probably wouldn't believe the word you're saying.
It's bananas though when it does happen that way.
Yeah.
You know, it's so cool.
Yeah.
And you're right. Like they're one of those name brands, and I don't know. It's like there's some kind of lore with the baits and all the stuff. Like I have so many of the accessories that I use. Like my scissors, I always pick up the Rapala braid shears. You know, every single couple of years when I got to replace them, I'm like, yeah, they're great. They do the job. You know, but like you go back like that specifically that floating minnow. And I had a feeling it was going to be a floating minnow. I had a feeling. I would say if I have a bass fishing like Sherpa, it's my former co-host, Sean the Fisherman. And he will, to this day, put that amongst his top list of go-to lures is a floating minnow.
Yeah.
He's like, Don't overlook it. He's like, it is just absolute money. In the right conditions, it is just money. That's freaking cool, dude. Super cool. Yeah. So let's talk. You're a Western New York guy. I got a couple of high pressure questions here. All right.
Oh boy. All right.
You got a choice. You can only choose one. Okay.
Okay.
Beef on wick, stinger.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't even know what a stinger is.
I will say I only recently discovered what a stinger is. So a stinger is it's a sandwich that's like a cheesesteak with like buffalo chicken tenders in it. It's like the ultimate stoner food. Yeah.
Just a chicken finger sub. All right.
Yeah, chicken finger sub, but with like cheesesteak. Like there's steak and cheese.
We're going stinger then. I'm not a big beef on wick guy.
Fair enough, dude.
I was hoping you were going to say wings. I'm going to say wings over everything.
Well, my other thing is this. So, best wings in Buffalo.
Duff's.
I'm a Duff's guy too. Love Duff's.
Duff's Bar-Bill is a very, very close second. It's a 1A, 1B though.
See, Duff's
has my heart.
I've never been there. I think Anchor Bark and Pound Sand. I think it's cute. Overrated. I think it's a cute idea. The lore and everything. But I think Duff's makes. In fact, I have some family that lives in Buffalo. My wife has a cousin. They had he and his wife and their son. They relocated to Buffalo, and they've been there ever since. In fact, her aunt is eventually going to be moving out that way as well. A handful of times we've gone out that way to go and visit like Niagara Falls and all kinds of stuff. And I have pictures of my youngest daughter, both of my daughters. We were at Duff's with just buckets of wings on the table with like the whole family there. It was awesome. Yeah, dude, Duff's nice. I feel like Duff's doesn't get enough love from like the wing community.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. So it's weird. So I have been living in Buffalo now for 4 years. But I grew up an hour east, so it's like
it's
really
the same thing.
Same.
Yep.
But it depends on what part of Buffalo you're from. It's actually really weird. Like certain places, like East and Northern Buffalo, will claim to Bar-Bill. Certain parts will claim to Duff's. You still have your old folk that'll claim to Anchor Bar or the OG. Course. And but there's some places too that are like sneaky good wings.
Oh yeah.
That people try to keep hidden for whatever reason. But it also depends on which Bar-Bill and which Duff's you go to. Some Duff's I've gone to are more like an Applebee's, where some Duff's like I will only go to because those are like
they step it up.
The chef there is like the stuff they're putting out is like the good stuff.
Yeah.
No, so it's so crazy how that is like a thing, but like
it's true though.
Yeah.
Location has a lot to do with it, and you get spots that just they get too big, and whenever you grow. Like I'm experiencing this with my business right now. Like I've got a really solid bar business, but I have run out of real estate. Like I have accounts. I have a line of accounts that want me at their facility, at their establishment, but there's no room on my calendar. And I'm like, I could like slide some times around and double book myself on days for different spots. But I'm like, I know that late night spot just post pandemic culture now, like that late night crowd just isn't there. So I'm like, my real estate's running out. So now I'm trying to pivot, and I've considered like bringing on other hosts to do what I do. But the problem is like that, and same thing goes with like in the restaurant business. When you grow to other locations, it's hard to maintain that quality from the original.
Yep.
And you end up cycling through people until you find people that either they get it or they at least get it for a long enough period of time before they start dropping the ball. And then the search begins again. So it's just a huge challenge. So location definitely comes into play.
Yeah.
We got it. Like we can't talk about Buffalo and ignore the weather. We can't because I used to run 2 television stations in Buffalo, WIVB and WNLO. And was NLO the Buffalo one? I think they were the Fox. It's been a long time. It's been like 10 years since I've been in television. And there were sister stations, and I was working in master control in I would say probably sometime between 2005 and 2010, somewhere in that window where you guys had like 5 feet of lake effect snow.
Oh yeah.
It was ridiculous. And I remember actually seeing it on television being like, holy crap, this is wild. Lake effect snow is no joke. You guys get hit with the cold weather. It's like Hoth up there.
it's 0 to 100. It is night and day. Like it's somebody just walks into a room, hits the light switch, and it's next thing you know, there's 3 feet of snow on the ground.
Oh yeah.
And you can feel it coming too. And that's the one problem is like, there's like a strip in Buffalo that it's just like, you can be there and get 5 feet of snow in a morning. And then 10 minutes north of you has zero snow.
Nothing. Yeah. It's like a line in the sand.
But we get hit and we get hit hard. And it's usually here for a couple of days. And then like right now it's 40 degrees and all the snow's gone, where we had 3 feet of snow the other day and 40-mile-an-hour winds.
That's just insane, man. I mean, but like, again, it's like, it's all the lake effect stuff. Like you have this body of water that is absolutely amazing and like wide open, and this wind just hammers the hell out of you. So like all of those cities all around the Great Lakes, like they know what's up. You know? I mean, like those winters just, they are rough, but I feel like Buffalo has that reputation. I've had conversations with folks at conferences that were from like northern Minnesota, and they're just they're like, oh, it's freaking cold here, but they're like, out in Buffalo, it's like it's crazy. Like it's famously crazy for weather. So what do you do in the winter? Like after deer season's done and everything like that, what are you doing to scratch that fishy itch? Do you dive into ice fishing at all?
If I ice fish, it is maybe once or twice a year. Yep. And I'm going with my buddies while they ice fish and I'm drinking all their beer. That's basically how it works for me. I mean, it's not that I don't enjoy it. Like if it's a hot bluegill bite, like I'll get in on it. Sure, but like, it's all time for me where I can go and get my content done, shoot a bunch of stuff in the house. And then I'm usually planning a trip south, especially in recent years, like I'll say, like first week of February, I'll go south. And that quickly becomes the middle of January. I'll leave to go south where it shortens that curve. But I usually will fish until ice is fully over. Cause some of our lakes will stay open longer cause they're deeper.
Yeah.
But now that we have, with the deer seasons, we have one last holiday hunt, they call it, but it's a late bow season, December 26th to January 1st. I have that at least to look forward to.
There you go.
And then basically from there, it's all of January to prep for 2026 bassin and head south in January.
Yeah, I don't have a date this year for any kind of a big trip. I just had Rachel Mullins, Adventure Titties, on the Back in the Beef Seed episode on YouTube. And she put the seed in my head that I should probably go to Florida this year. And I'm like, you know what? That might be the move. So I got word this morning that we have open water in Cape Cod.
Oh, there you go.
So I'm sending it east. My plan is a couple of days after Christmas, I want to go out that way. Even if I don't necessarily fish so much, there are spots. I just put electronics on my boat, so I want to just kind of do some graphing and like I'm after breaking the state record of Massachusetts, more in like as hype and headline than anything else. I realize catching a 15-pound largemouth in Massachusetts,
I was gonna say, dude,
that shit don't come easy. Yeah. But like I know of the bodies of water because I'm going to fish all of them that are where the lore comes from, because there's a bunch of talk that it's different ones. So I'm toying around with it and just having some fun. But I freaking love the kid, and I love like where I am because I'm about an hour outside of the New York border.
Okay. So
I'm not too far from like being able to get, I mean, it takes me like under 5 hours to get the St. Lawrence River, like at Thousand Islands. And I can get in about even a little bit shorter time. I could be at Champlain. So it's not the worst spot to be in.
Not at all.
My neighborhood sucks. I don't have anywhere really in town that's fantastic to fish. Though the Connecticut River is not too bad. As far as your fishing style, like I think you do a great job of like showing off like where your strengths are, like your versatility and everything, especially in your video content. And I think that especially comes through like in your tournament, like the tournament content that comes out with like stuff that you've been on the water in a competitive fashion. When did the tournament element get introduced into your life, and like where do you see that going for you? Is it something that you're dabbling in, or something you're actually pushing to take to the next level?
So where it was introduced was, basically growing up and bass fishing with my dad. We were never too crazy serious on bass fishing, like to the extent of like trying to get crazy with it until I was about probably like 12 or 13.
Yep.
And that was more my decision than my dad's, where he used to own this little Bayliner, no trolling motor, nothing. We just float flats with sluggos. That was how we always would fish. And nothing wrong with that at all. That was how dad grew up. And then it was about 12, 13 where I just like my ADHD mind, just like, if I'm going to do something, I got to go full bore into it. And like with hockey, like I would study players and stuff like that and track analytics. Like I'd go full bore into it. And I was that way with bass fishing, and my dad was awesome in supporting me with that. It maybe put too many miles on his truck, but like he would like, you know, before I had my driver's license, he would, he'd work from home, which was awesome. That would help big time, but he would drive me down the lake 15 minutes away, drop me off, pick me up for dinner. And,
That's cool.
It was then when I was getting that deep into it that I started studying more, looking on YouTube, watching Bassmaster, watching all these old historic, you know, FLW tournaments, old Bassmaster reruns, stuff like that. That I was like getting like, it was awesome. Like these guys can go and fish, compete, make money, whatever. And never once, even to this day, did I ever have an idea of I want to be a pro angler. I've never wanted that.
Yeah.
I have many great friends that are pro anglers. I have the most respect for them in the world. I can never live the lifestyle that they do.
Yep.
And so it's been one where I just got into it in high school with another buddy of mine in high school. And we started fishing some local club tournaments. Like we were in his 25 horse, 16 foot tin rig. We're going up against these guys with full Rangers, like 21 foot Rangers, 250 horsepower. Where it was more funny than anything else, but got into the kayak fishing side of it because it was finally something I could do solo and on my own. And it was pretty cheap to get into. And it kind of just grew from there, where now, you know, next year is the first year that I'll ever fish the full entire national trail. I'm going to do the whole entire Bassmaster trail schedule. And I'm more just doing that just to see what happens. Like I started fishing nationally a couple of years ago because like I found success in New York. I wanted to see how I stack up against the best. You know, I've made friends with some of the greatest kayak anglers in the country, and I was like, I just want to see how I stack up. I'm probably gonna get my butt whooped, but like I just want to see, you know, how we do. And won a couple, and now it's like I want to fish full trail just to see out of curiosity. And who knows? It could be my last year I ever fish a full schedule, or I might just enjoy the. I more do it honestly for one, the content creation and the adventure. Yeah. If I do great, awesome. If I suck, you know, that sucks. But like at the end of the day, like I got to travel to the state and go fish. Yeah, you got the experience and the content, you know, so that's awesome. Yeah, and so like I'm always a competitor. Like I want to win. Sure. For me now, like my number one priority is the content itself. So it's, you know, it's YouTube first when it comes to those trips, but I'm just there living out the adventure versus being stuck in snowy Buffalo and go travel the country and go fish. So it is interesting with like a lot of the competitive folks that like, I think that curiosity, like you said, like wanting to know, like, how do I stack up against these other folks? And then I find like there was, we worked for a while with a really good partner, a kayak outfitter in Connecticut. And at the time they had a fantastic manager that was working over there, Lauren. Lauren's awesome. Lauren Fury. Good folks. And when Sean and I were you know, hosting the show, it was very obvious. Like Sean's got 30 plus years experience fishing. I am a guy who started fishing very young, did a lot of what I've learned after interviewing so many different anglers, dropped it when I was like about in like middle school, high school, and then didn't pick it up later until, you're going to love this, until I was in my like early 30s and decided I need a hobby.
That was cheap.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I need a hobby that's cheap. That's it. I'll go fishing. And then the bug bit for fishing with artificial baits for bass. And I was just like, this is going to be a problem. This is going to go somewhere. And you know, so that was kind of with me, but with Sean, he's been fishing his entire life. Super into tournaments, was doing online tournaments before I even knew that was a thing. CPR, I had no idea was even a thing. And Lauren over at Three Bells was like, she's like, you know what the thing is, she goes, and this says a lot about the fishing community. She's like, when Sean goes out there, he's on a mission. When you go out there, Bobby, you're on a journey. And I'm like, I've never ever had something ring so true. I was like, that's exactly it. Let's touch on the content a little bit. Like, what were some of your like content heroes, like where you were just like you either absorbing like tips or maybe looking at it from like tips as far as like how to create content? Like what were some of the ones that you were like early on were just like, these are some of the folks, and some of these might not even be fishing content creators either, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I gotta take a nod to one of the just absolute legends in the YouTube game and still is, and that's John B.
Hell yeah.
From Guggen Squad, just because like he showed one of the growth of content, how he got that content, but also he helped manufacture and like just show the storytelling aspect of it versus just go out and go fish. Like he had, for the most part, like especially some of his bigger videos traveling, there was a storyline to it. And that is the most important part in all content nowadays. If you can't storytell, you're not going to be in content for a long period of time.
Yeah.
And that was one. And John is an awesome dude. We've got him on the podcast this past year.
Yep.
Just a great genuine episode. Human for as big of following and have of stature he is now in fishing. A very genuine, good dude. And Mikey Balls is another one who I've had the absolute pleasure of getting him on the pod numerous times. I'm going to be staying with him in Florida, doing some fishing with him.
Cool.
Like he is salt of the earth human, but he is like the OG when it comes to content and keeping it real.
For sure.
Those are two big ones that I watched, especially on the fishing side growing up. But honestly, dude, a lot of what I've learned on the content creation aspect of things has been, I can't really put a finger on one specific resource. It's been a kind of like a culmination of a few things, from like Think Media to just finding random YouTubers that, you know, when we talk about whether it's editing styles or ideas. But the biggest thing, and this speaks to anybody that wants to get into content creation, improve on their content creation, is whether you're friends with somebody who already does it or you have friends that want to also get into it. Pair up on that and brainstorm ideas together, like riff-raff off each other. One of the best things that helps me is I'm in, you know, like group chats with like Alex Rudd, Benjamin Nowak, you know, one of my best friends, all three of those guys, but like Louis Delgado, who's North Georgia fisherman. We riff-raff off of ideas, whether it's YouTube, social media, whatever, every single day. And it's like, you know, critiquing each other's stuff. And it's like hard love criticism stuff of like how to improve on that. And it's that kind of iron sharpen iron helps you with the content. If you got the passion for it, you're willing to try new things. Like I'm trying to step out of my comfort zone. Like Louis has been pushing me to do some more, like not acting, but like make fun of myself on content type of stuff. And well, that's just that alone in itself, like, is the best way to get better at content, is diving down that journey with somebody else, like, and riff-raff, push each other, riff-raff off each other. Whereas solo, it can be more difficult to be critical of your own stuff, if that makes sense. And the things you need that for social media, especially.
It's you nailed it. Like there's something about community and whatever that trade might be. You know, I've seen this early on with like groups of DJs would just put their heads together and like listen to each other's stuff. And, you know, same thing, like when I was playing live music, I would be, you know, we'd put shows together with different bands from different areas and talk about things that we could do to benefit everybody and really kind of get things to take off. But the same thing, like when you're creating content, like it's great to have that second pair of eyes that has some experience there. I've gotten really close. Like I've got some really good, you know, friends that are in the content game as well, like Benny Outdoors. He and I are always talking back and forth. It's to the point where I brought him on as like tournament director for Jigs and Bigs, because I just don't want to do it anymore. You know, I'm like, let me do what I do and promote this and like push it. But I was like, we're going to have you like actually working the mechanics of this. And I think the dude is so painfully honest. It is going to be such a good role for him to be tournament director, because it's going to be great. And then, you know, I mean, like I've got over the years, I've developed this amazing friendship with Becca Yassine, former Guggen as well. And she has been paramount in like really telling me shit that I needed to hear. You know what I mean? And like making me think critically about the content that I'm putting out there. And like that, like getting back to like hearing from like consumers of that content, there's like my most popular video is obviously from when I bought my boat. The internet loves when you spend a lot of money. That's the thing that nobody tells you. Like, no, if you want views on something, just, spend a ridiculous amount of, I will return it afterwards, or whatever you got to do. But like, they love when you spend a lot of money. In fact, if I retitle my boat right now, it's like the day I got my new boat. If I just put like, I dropped $30,000 on this, I would probably get 10 times the amount of views. I'm going to do that after we're done recording. I'm going to go change the title. We'll just see what happens.
Yeah,
it'll be a little litmus test, But when I did that, I was like, like there's a couple of people that had reached out to me, and they're like, man, like I've been looking for the right boat, and it looks like what you've got going is exactly kind of what I'm picturing in my mind. Because like when I bought my boat, I went into it from like that kayak angler like position of rigging. How can I customize this as much as possible? So I probably should have just done everything and built it into the loan. But I was like, no, it's going to be a painful process. Trolling motor, outboard only, and I bought specifically a hull that would work well for content as far as giving me like room to work. And it's been growing and growing and growing. But there are folks that are like, yeah, I think I'm going to pull the trigger on a Lund. I think that's the thing, because it just looks like it's working so well for what you want to do.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We recently had a question on our Live Well segment where we get phone calls from the occasional listener, and always Eli's self. Always get questions from Eli self. Eli, we love you, buddy. He asked a question about building like it was a twofold question. It was, if money was no object, what would you build for your go-to rig that's a budget, like something that you could like feasibly put together? Like, what would your dream rig be on a budget? But then if money was no object, what would the dream rig be entirely? And I kind of like, both Joe and myself kind of had this idea like all set and ready to go. Like, and a lot of it on the budget end, because we've been working on it, He's like, I wouldn't change my boat for anything. And I'm like, I really wouldn't either. It's really nimble. Like, I mean, I can get into big, scary bodies of water if the conditions are perfect. I'd like a larger platform for that someday. But I'm like, my truck and my camping rig and everything, it's so good. I want to ask you the same question. What would your like dream budget rig be? And your dream, like, money was no object, I just wanted $1.25 billion in the Powerball.
Yeah. What, I mean, are we for budget, Ray? Are we talking like boat stuff, kayak stuff?
We're talking truck, boat, kayak, and camping. Like, however you want to do. I'll give you an example. So my dream rig right now, so like my kayak, I love my kayak, don't get me wrong. But I have an old Titan 13.5. And I drive a 4Runner. I'm not putting that on my roof, man. Like, it's just not going to happen. So I trailer that thing everywhere. But for me to travel and bring my boat and my kayak, there's a problem. So the only thing I would change with my Lund Angler 1650 and my 4Runner is I would get into like an Osprey. And I'd get into one of those. So that way, yes, I could keep it on top of my roof. I camp in the 4Runner. Like, I've got a nice setup in there that I've put together. Like, when I'm not working, I take all that stuff out. I have like a full-size bed in the back. Like, it's beautiful. I have no issues with that, the way that it is. But like for you, like, how would you do if you were gonna take serious angler on the road and you had to be relatively self-sufficient from spot to spot? Like, how would you rig yourself up?
From that, I like how you positioned it there. Kind of taking that on the road and being able to do what I do now, but on the road, I would try to find a Sprinter van, deck out the back into like a desk office, kind of like your little, editing studio, if you will, where you can do pods. And I would get a Hobie iTrack, which is that inflatable kayak, which you can take. It's a fun boat too. It's quick. Not the like most customizable rig, but it's one inflate, deflate, take wherever, put it in a backpack, literally. I'd probably do that. And then that way I can go wherever I want, fish wherever I want, create the content, be able to do all that stuff on the road. Mm-hmm. On the flip, as much as I love the kayak side,
sure,
if I could, I would definitely get a, dude, those new Tundras look so badass.
Right, that's my dream truck right there. Yeah,
yeah. I go new Tundra. Dream World. I'd find a 2017 Tundra with less than 30,000 miles on it.
Yep.
Put the topper on there, deck out the back with a bed system.
Yep.
And then probably go with like a Phoenix 21 PHX, one where I can go on big water, small water.
Yes.
Don't go too crazy in electronics. I don't need the whole 5, 6 graphs on it. I want 2 up front, 2 in the back.
Yep.
I can go in the Great Lakes, but I can also go up dirt shallow if I need to.
Mm-hmm.
Not the greatest for dirt shallow, but enough to get the job done. I probably think that would be the rig. Gas mileage is terrible, but like if money's not an option, you don't worry about it.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly. And the thing is like gas is definitely a major factor when you're moving stuff. Like I did a trip to St. Clair last spring, and I had some complications with my plate for my boat registration, and I didn't have the physical plate. Like I lost a plate on the road. I had ordered a replacement. It wasn't here in time. So instead of cutting like 3 hours off and going into Canada, because everybody was telling me they're never going to let you in with that template. Like they're never going to let you in. So I drove 12 hours, the long way, staying domestic all the way in. And like, but at the same time, like gas is for sure an issue, but if you're creating content, like it's part of the expense, you know what I mean? It totally is. That's a sick
and
boat.
if you're creating content nowadays, if you're not writing that crap off, you need to
You're crazy.
Yeah.
100%. Like every dollar you spend on gas, every SD card that you purchase, like all that stuff, it all adds up. Let's talk. There was something I was gonna ask you about. What was it? We talked about the rig. We talked about. Oh man, I totally lost my train of thought. This doesn't happen very often, man.
Don't you love when that happens?
It's the worst. It is absolutely the worst.
Ever.
But let's dive into this a little bit. Let's talk about like as far as the future for Serious Angler, where would you like to see that go? Like what's the let's just look at like the 5-year plan. Like what do you think that's going to look like for you?
Full disclosure, I don't know if I've ever said this out loud before. Besides out my team, but basically I look at it as I want to build a full scale media department in that with our team. Mm-hmm. And the goal is basically all the admiration and what's the word of gratitude towards the meat eater folks. I want to build a meat eater in the fishing space.
Dude, I think that's awesome. Awesome. I think that needs to be something that's in the fishing ethos, and I think that platform is ideal for it because the thing is like bass fishing is amazing, but bass fishing is a niche within a niche. Fishing in general is a niche. Then when you get into like tournament angling and then you want to split that between big boat and this, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. So small. And if you can unify anglers as a whole, like it's awesome. Like if I have one regret, and I dabbled with this a little bit in the past. If I have one regret with jigs and bigs, it's that I feel, and I love bass fishing. In fact, I think that bass are the first species every angler who's considering fishing should kind of lose it over, should just get completely ate up with, because bass are easy to handle. They're hardier than hell. And on top of that, the fight is exciting. You know what I mean? Yep. They're very exciting to catch. So if you're trying to get somebody really hooked into fishing, I think that fishing for largemouth and smallmouth bass is 100% the place you want to be. But with that said, man, that is really just the tip of the iceberg. Like you can go down this, and I feel that like there are folks that don't value some other methods of fishing or other species to target for whatever reason. And like one of the things that I love the most about like my approach to fishing is like I will talk with folks that like I love trout fishing. I love to eat trout. They're great and they're just beautiful, man. Like you get a brook trout in the fall, all like just colored out, just beautiful fish. And like I just love that. But like I'll fish. I have a body of water over here that's famous with fly fishermen. I go in there with my BFS stuff, all my bait finesse gear on my boat. And I'm like power fishing with like tiny little swim baits, and I'm catching them and I'm just like, this is amazing. And I've always had this stance of like fishing is this amazing like recipe, this ratio of science and art.
Yeah.
And in there's like this magic that you can't get anywhere else. So like if you've got the ability to like wrap your arms around that whole fishing community and bring everybody together and learn and have fellowship and grow together and, you know, be stewards of the environment, like, dude, that's a home run. And I think that the way you describe that is exactly what needs to occur in the fishing space. 100%.
Yeah, that has been a goal of mine. I can't really mark up to the exact point in the timeline where I had thought about that, but I'm just looking at it from a full scale of like, you know, when you look at, you nailed it perfect. Like there's this group of anglers and you got this massive group, which is millions upon millions and millions of people. And then you have bass fishing's here. And then tournament bass fishing is a minuscule. It might be the loudest of the crowd, but it is minuscule. And it is one where it's just like, I don't see why we can't have, you know, serious catfishing, serious walleye, serious panfish, the whole 9 yards. But I look at that and I'm like, if we can start doing a whole lot of good in the bass fishing space and branch this out completely amongst all species from a conservation standpoint, but also like, I have a really big philanthropic, I think that's how you pronounce it, goal that I have with the brand to, as we build our community and build our listenership, the amount of people that are active with us day by day, week by week, is to do some good with it. As we grow, I want to bring some of that back to like, whether it's around the timing of Veterans Day or stuff like that, to do themed things to then have all profits donated towards a foundation or support a conservation effort and have, you know, a Serious Angler militia behind us, if you will, of like people that were like, hey, we can guarantee we're going to send 20,000 people your way to help support this cause. Like I want to, for as much as I want to build it and the success I'm having with it, I feel obligated to give back in some sort of fashion that is to the sport, to the fish, to the resource. And I just know if we can build it up the way we envision it, that we're going to be able to bring so much to, you know, just hopefully the next generation of people are out there fishing, hunting, whatever it may be. It's because I look at some other niches of fishing, man, and like outside of bass, like bass might be the most popular of the game fish and from a freshwater standpoint in America, but like panfish and catfish are very, very close second. The fastest growing niche in fishing right now is catfish by far. It is blowing it out of the water. I can see in 2-3 years catfish being the biggest American popular American freshwater sport fish. And it's stuff like that where it's like those people don't have much of a resource. There's some great YouTube channels out there for catfishing.
Definitely.
There's really good content. There's like maybe 1 or 2 podcasts where it's like there's still room there, and there's room to benefit those anglers and bring that learning, entertainingly educational aspect to it, and see if we can keep growing this thing. But that's big picture.
That's freaking dope, dude. I think, you know, and that's the thing. I think that everybody like has a little bit of responsibility. Like even just you get a fishing license, like you're already acting as a steward for the environment. Like you're already involved because a portion of that money is going to go to the environment. So how can you take that and bring it to the next level? Well, hey, when you're out fishing and you see some trash, pick it up. Don't be that guy that just leaves it. You know, grab whatever you can and take it out with you. Every little bit, it all adds up. So now you're taking that to that next level. And then when you get into the point where like you're making content or you're representing, even if you're running a tournament trail or something like that, like you've got more and more that calling to do more for the sport, to give back into it it just expands and expands and expands. So, you know, I definitely applaud you for that, dude. That's huge.
I appreciate it. Hopefully we can get there.
Hell yeah. So I have this idea. Like I mentioned, I want to we're talking about rigs and bringing it on the road. That's kind of a goal for me this year. Like I have been talking, you know, Dave Urkey, Wolf of Walmart, you know, Dave. Dave's a good guy. I love that guy. He's such a good dude. He created the term dude pride, at least in the dark horse world. And I mean, just such a good guy. And I miss episodes of The Whole Angler. Dave, if you're listening, and I know you are, we need a new episode of The Whole Angler. You know, maybe we get all the podcasters together on The Whole Angler and we just have a big therapy sesh right on The Whole Angler. I think it might be good.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
I probably canceled his episode. I was probably the last episode. I got him canceled. Sorry, bro.
No, you weren't. It was, I forget who it was. It was a great episode too, but no, you weren't the last one. You were a great one too, by the way.
I appreciate that.
That was really good. He does a real good product, but like, you know, and that's one of the things I love about what Serious Angler does. You guys take a real stab at saying, here is how we're going to support the West Coast. And that's huge. Like, it really, like, I think that's awesome, because I feel like West Coast bass fishing is, in some ways, maybe its own sort of slice or its own little culture in a way, but we're just one giant group of states. And it's like, there's a lot of crossover there, but you guys are really out there supporting it. One of the things I want to do is bring the Jigs and Bigs experience to different areas. So like touring is a big deal. And I want to, like, we've done live events in the past. Like, we've done even like live stuff at the Columbus Fishing Expo, where we did just a dark horse tackle party. We did, you know, I did like fishy trivia that day. It was awesome. So I want to take that and do more, but like engage with the local fishing community. So connect with like a bait shop in an area, you know, have them feature them, you know, go out to a spot, fish for a day with somebody that I've had on the show, somebody that's a listener, something like that, create some content. Then that following day, go out, fish a little bit more, come back, have a big live event party, you know, and these don't have to be like giant crowds necessarily, but it's just got to be the right community, you know, get these folks together. So I'm going to start in the Northeast. My plan is to do something local. You know, the 300th episode party we have coming up in January isn't going to be the official launch. This will be something a little bit different, because I very well might not have Joe with me when I go do this. So like the podcast recording portion is probably going to be a little bit of a monologue, a little back and forth with whomever's there, record that content and everything and do something. But my plan is to do like the Vermont side of Champlain, maybe something by Winnipesaukee, St. Lawrence River for sure, because I still have a bone to pick with the St. Lawrence River. This guy here went there in October and got skunked in Thousand Islands.
Oh, man.
3 times out? Yeah, 3 days out. And although it was ridiculous. There's a video, I put a video together. It was ridiculous. Went to another body of water and we had a little challenge. Binny Outdoors and I, we did this Alabama hot bag challenge. Have you ever heard of this?
No.
Alabama hot bag. And the loser had to eat an Alabama hot bag. And we did 1 point per fish. It was multi-species. And I think I had like 12 points to his 7. Like, it was but I wouldn't let him go. I felt bad. So I had enough stuff to make 2 Alabama hot bags. So I had one as well. So an Alabama hot bag, because I know everybody wants to know. You take like a freezer bag, like a Ziploc bag, and you put 2 hard-boiled eggs in there, a whole can, including the juice, of Vienna sausages, a couple heaping tablespoons of cornstarch, some kind of like seeds, like sunflower seeds are what they normally use. I said, the jury's out on if you can actually eat sunflower seed shells or not. I eat sunflower seeds all the time. I'm sure that I've eaten some, but I don't know if it's a great idea to like just pummel down like a handful of them. So we went and I was like, we're going to call an audible. I go, we can pick an ingredient. I go, and so here's what I'm offering you. I was like, peanuts or corn, for exactly the reason you're thinking. And Binny was like,
why not both?
So we did both. Hot sauce, and I think there might be some other ingredient, but what you do is you take all this stuff in this thing and you mash it into a paste. And then you cut the corner of the bag and pipe it right into your mouth.
Oh my God. Yeah, you can count me out on that noise.
Dude, it was disgusting. It was terrible. Oh my God. But we had a good time with it. You know, so I mean, so I have a bone to pick with St. Lawrence. I would love to have you be my guest at one of those stops up there, you know, up in St. Lawrence, or even out further west a little bit. My thought is, if I can get the Northeast and have it be successful enough to build that confidence, then I'll put the work in to block it out and go do the Gulf and go a little bit further south. Like, I'd love to fish Arizona. You guys had that, it was you guys had that episode with, I forget who it was, talking about, was it Roosevelt?
The fisheries biologist?
Yes, from Roosevelt. And she was full of information about this amazing.
Yeah, Amber Lee, I believe it was.
Oh my God, what a great episode, dude! I was glued. I think I listened to it twice because I'm like, because we have some listeners in Arizona that have reached out. Javi, what's up? And they've reached out and they're like, dude, you need to come out to this point. Like a lot of people think like those desert states, there's no fishing. But they're like, it's limited, but it can be fire. And I'm like, the drive to get my boat out there would take so long. So I'm like, well, if we're going to do this, we're going to do this. I might as well go do some stuff in California. I might as well do some stuff in West Texas or whatever and kind of get around and figure it out. But I got to build my business in a way that I can take the time off. Because that's the other thing. When you work for yourself, you don't get PTO.
Yeah, it's a gauntlet, man.
It is.
That is one of the hardest things when you have an entrepreneurial mind of you have all these ideas, but you know that there's this big roadblock to get you there. And then you combine it with my ADHD and OCD. Yeah, it's like a whirlwind of like, I want to do this so bad, but you know, you got restraints here to like, that you need to do it right. You got to do these things and cross these off the list first. And yeah, I understand that. I
do think that like ADD, OCD, all of that with the right tools can be an amazing little bit of leverage to kick things off. Because there are folks who have it dialed. I am not that guy. I'm like, you know, I get a notification on my phone and I'm like, oh, wow. And I'm like, I got to finish this.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. The guys on the Serious Angler crew, definitely, I tell them, I give them full room to cuss me out, call me names, take it out on me. Like, because I know I can be, I'm a proud over communicator, if you will.
Sure.
Where it's like, hey, if y'all need to mute the chat, whatever, like it's all good. Like we have a project management system that we use for the pure fact of me not blowing up our group chat at 5 a.m. when I'm working on stuff.
Yep.
Cause I'll be like sitting there, I'll be like at the gym in the morning. I usually try to get up the gym, go at 5, get done by like 6:30, but I'll be like cooling down the treadmill and I'm like firing out ideas. Cause like I'm up and my brain's being productive.
Definitely.
But then I see what you're saying too. Like I'll be editing and then I'll see like Spotify emails me. He's like, oh, you have 15 comments on your new podcast, whatever. And I'm like, oh, let's respond to the comments. And I forget that I'm like, oh, I got to finish this editing.
Oh, yeah.
I got to make podcast artwork. And then if you can funnel all that in, which I've been getting better and better at, of like being structured and like having a system of getting things done at the right time. And I feel you on that. The guys though, I tell them all the time, like, I appreciate you guys putting up with my pain in the ass because I'm just like lighting up the group chat all the time. Like having these ideas and I'm like on idea 5 by the time they can answer idea 1. And
that's how I feel every time. Like I'm sure Sean had to deal with it. Although Sean, I feel, had the same kind of mindset as I did. So we would just constantly be talking all the time via text or phone call, like all the time. And he also got into this show during the pandemic. He was retired Air Force, so he had a little bit more time to play with. So we kind of developed a really bad habit of constantly being in touch with everything. Joe is still working. So like he will be like, he'll get a litany of texts from me and I'll be like, hey, what do you think of this? Or blah, blah, blah. Did you check this out? And blah, blah, blah. Hey, I'm interviewing so-and-so. You want to jump in on this? And it's just, I feel so bad for the poor guy. And he's so nice to just deal with me because I can be a lot. And then I've got to run a business. So it's like, you know, do you guys have a regular day that you set aside to record your shows?
No, we did. We used to because we used to be live for every show, but we went away from the live for the pure fact of it was really hard to, which still is, have guests that can be available on a Tuesday night for a live show or have all 3 of us as hosts be available for a live show at Tuesday night. Mm-hmm. And so we went away from that so that we can, sometimes it's nice to just get up and rip a podcast at 9 a.m. and have the rest of your day to go get after what else, you know? And we just found for whatever reason, like there was just a lot of, we made that decision to go away from live when there was like a new live fishing show popping up every single other day, it seemed. And there's nothing against that. It was just like, man, why don't we just take the time to do pre-recorded and put in a better product of editing and all this stuff, put things together and put that out versus try to compete with all these people on a live stream. And it's since really helped from us, you know, for our YouTube video growth of certain episodes popping off, things like that. And it's just been easier schedule wise for all of us.
Sure. Oh, definitely.
But yeah, we kind of stay fluid with that.
It's crazy with the live stuff too. Like I feel like kind of a douche because for a long time I would tell people, I'm like, oh yeah, live streaming, that's lazy podcasting. Like you just doing it, talking, and then going off. And is that content existing anywhere? Like, and if it, like some folks would like, oh, we're on Instagram Live or on Facebook. And it's like, so somebody's got to go through that and search all of this stuff, or they've got to go on your YouTube channel if you're doing it live there and search all this stuff. And I mean, that's no shade to anybody else, but I'm like, that's not exactly the show that I necessarily want to do. However, I say this, but we have a Patreon with a small audience of folks over there. It's like about 100 people that like they'll pop in little bits here and there and tune in. And we give them access to the recording process. So like that's what we use this for, StreamYard. So we share a link with them. They can, go to our YouTube channel and communicate in the comments. So we get to reference a lot of those folks. And it's cool, but like because we don't have that dedicated time of where we're doing it, my work schedule has screwed this entirely up. Like for a long time, we had one specific day, I think it was Sunday nights. And then about a little over a year ago, I picked up a residency on Sunday evening. So I was like, okay, it's no big deal. I'm going to work this for a little while. And I dropped my Monday account. And then it was so Monday nights were going to be the nights. Every single Monday night we would record. And that worked out great for a short while. And then I picked up a Monday account. Now I was Monday, every day off except every day on except Saturday. And I'm like, Saturdays I do private events. Like I also don't want to kill like everybody's Saturday night by like, oh, hey, we're going live. It's like that's date night for a lot of people. That's, they have family obligations and events and stuff like that. I don't want to do that. Yeah. So we shifted to doing some mornings, and mornings are great. I love it. Like you said, like you get up, you're like, yeah, we'll get up 9 o'clock. Rip out a show, done deal.
Coffee.
Yeah, and it's nice and it's casual. But what I've noticed is like with a lot of the Patreon followers, the jig heads, we call them, it's like a different group. Like we'll have some that'll pop up in the morning on a weekday because like either they just got out of work or they're commuting. And they're like, yeah, I pop this on, I listen to it, or they're in their office and they're able to go and do, whatever. Like we'll get Zach from Dark Horse is one of our regular jig heads for a long time. And he'll be like filling orders and watching the show live, like as it's going. And I was always afraid that was going to like hurt the show's numbers as far as analytics go for listens and everything else. But really, I think at the end of the day, if anything, it's made that audience that much stronger. And so like, it's weird. I have this thing with going live with live streaming where it can be really cool or it can be like, because we reach way more people on the audio platform than we do, probably 10 to 1, than we do on live. And that's like on average. Some of our really big episodes, it's like much, much more than that. But it's just bananas. And I always have this weird thing too, where like, I feel like in the fishing podcast world, of like at least the ones that are commonly spoken about and like the host that I'm the old guy, you know what I mean? Like I'm the guy that like I'm almost 50, so I've been, I kind of have a weird, like you mentioned the comments in Spotify. This is so embarrassing, Bailey. So I love that they do comments on Spotify. It's great.
Wish Apple did it too.
I think they'll get there. I do. I really think that they'll get there. But like with Spotify, I remember getting comments that just didn't make any sense. And I was like, what the hell is this? And it was like a couple fighting in my comments.
Yeah, like we got that too. There was like a bunch of kids talking.
Yeah, I had no idea. And that's what it was. Like these kids that like their folks will like, delete the apps off their phone so they can't like do chat back and forth. They're like, yeah, but they're not going to delete Spotify. So they just jump in there and I'd be like, what are you talking? And I felt like such an old man jumping in there. I was like,
I didn't realize it either. Like a guy was this weird kid jumped in our comments, dude. Like trying to find a date with all these younger. I'm like, what is happening right now? And I think I blocked like 50 kids under the age of 16 from our show because I just didn't want that in the comment section. Like, I don't need this case coming to our podcast.
Right?
Like,
100%. Like, I'm glad that's kind of like been in the conversation though, because now if somebody's like, hey, your show is, because Jigs and Bigs is like, I can remember when we started doing stuff for like the NPFL, not NPFL, for KFL, like forever ago. And we were doing like a recap show with them. And Sean was a big part of this because again, like I don't really get into like the analytics of competitive fishing or anything like that. So he was really kind of a huge resource with this. But we did some stuff for like half a season, and then we're like,
Nobody's listening to this shit.
and we just bounced. Like nobody was fucking listening to it. Nobody gave a shit. It actually, those episodes killed the overall analytics because the listens were so minimal, you know? And we're just like, yeah, this is not working for us. It's not working for our audience. Like nobody's really into it. But the feedback from that community because of the language on our show, like they're like, oh, I think somebody, they didn't even hear the show. Just the fact that it had an explicit tag on the listing, they're like, oh, I think this is insane that this show has, you know, explicit content. And I'm like,
fuck off.
you know what I mean? I'm like, what the fuck? And you know, it's like I'm like, this is not that show. Like, what's your take on that? Like, do you like, because I know you guys don't like filter yourselves extremely, like, you know, I think it's like, what's your take as far as like the content and like filtering language and stuff?
We have every now and then a guest will ask like, oh, like no cuss words or whatever. And it's not like, the way I look at it is exactly kind of how like Pat McAfee structures his shows, where it's like, I don't know if you've watched one of his shows when there's a precursor before you get into one of his live shows where it's apologies or something like that for the swear words. It's just, this is the real world and this is how real people talk. And so like, we'll cuss, but like, we're not going to be like egregious saying some really nasty language. It's more like,
shtick.
We'll say shit. We'll say whatever, you know, like nothing over the board, but like most people are, I mean, we already have it on our, you know, columned in YouTube and podcasts of like, this is not made or designed for kids. That's not saying a kid won't listen, but like,
of course, you
know, we speak real, how all of us are going to talk on the boat with each other or at the ramp. Like, and if we have one of our, like next week, we're going to have we haven't had a live show in forever, but we're going to just rip a random live Christmas special and we call it our Serious Dangler episode.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Not so serious show. And that's usually, we always start those off of like, hey, if you're listening to the show and you're in the truck with your kids, probably not the best time to listen to this show because there might be some language or conversation that's not appropriate. And we usually just kind of start off with that and just let it be. But otherwise, I don't want to filter anybody. Be like, because this stems to this long tangent and I won't draw it out for you, but basically to make it short is, in my mind, bass fishing has tried to, but never was a white collared, wear a suit, be super professional, hoity toity kind of sport. It's never been that. Bass fishing has always been and still is still missing the boat. Like when you talk about these professional leagues of being that somebody is stained shirt, drinking a beer, putting a dip in, cussing a little bit and just being real. That's what our sport is.
I agree. So like blue collar.
That's how we like to see it. That's the same way.
And that's the thing. It's like I've always, and I've asked people, like I've asked Becca, I've asked a bunch of people. I'm like, should I filter Jigs and Bigs a little bit? Like, do you think, is that what's really holding us back? And people are just like, hell no. They're like, because the people that are listening to your show and that are like, they are, number one, they're okay with it. So what I've tried to do is like, I tell everybody, I was like, oh yeah, Jigs and Bigs. It's like, I'll give you a perfect example. So in our tournament series, our online tournament series, we do the slot limit series, which kind of is awesome because you can fish and compete with everybody. You should jump into one of these. You can compete with people all over the country, but it's only 12-inch to 17-inch fish that count. So it's a total numbers game, but like you don't have to worry about somebody in like Florida or Texas going like, oh yeah, put in like 322s and you're screwed. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a whole lot of fun. Like we've had some really, really good times with it. And we have this one kid, and he's going to get into competitive bass fishing, and it's going to be a problem. His name's Brody. And Brody is unbelievable. But Brody is, I think he just turned 12 or maybe he's turning 13. Like he's a young kid. And like it's just, when he first started, he was 11 and he wiped the floor with everybody. It was such a bad day for me, but he wiped the floor with everybody. I think there was like 30 adults that he just absolutely crushed and won this one tournament. And it was a story I wanted. I was like, yes, 11-year-old Brody did. And like, I had to pay his mom because he didn't have a Venmo or a PayPal PayPal set up at the time. So I sent it over and I was like, you're okay with him like listening to this show? And she's like, I've known Joe for years. He hasn't heard anything on your show that he hasn't heard elsewhere. Like, it's all good. I'm like, okay, all right. I just want to make sure, because I tell everybody, I was like, we've got hearts of gold, mouths of truckers. So like, it's like when one of my buddies, I call one of them and they know. They're just like, hey, I'm in the car with so and so. I'm like, all right, we'll put on the corporate talk now. It'll be all right. But man, that is just freaking nuts. I do like the fact that you guys let loose and you're doing the Serious Dangler Christmas episode. I think that's freaking dope. That is super dope. Yeah,
we do it every now and then just because it's, we try to obviously be the resource of like the entertainingly educational, but like there's sometimes you just got to let it rip. And dude, this goes back to that conversation of like the live stream. And I think live streams are great. And I am so jealous of people that can live stream well.
Yeah.
I can't. We'd have to go hire somebody to do the background work to do a live stream to build a product well. Cause like, live stream is great. We can have a couple hundred people come in, 1,000 people, whatever.
Yep.
And, it's a good show. But like you said, even for us, the majority of our listeners is MP3. And if they don't have a great product to listen to, that's all you're building. And it's like we're building the audience. But there's certain things we still need to do to build the community, because in my mind, there is a big difference between audience and community.
Yeah.
Like what you're talking about, like the people all that listen to your show, you have that audience. Your 100 Patreon members, that is a very well-built community.
That's a community. Yeah, it's different.
So it's like for us, like if we just do those Dangler episodes now and then, or like certain things we do to engage audience with shows, even though we're not live, that is community building to me, where it's like these not so serious shows where we got to show even further, like who we are, a little bit behind the curtain, a little bit more off the cuff, uncensored, basically as close as you're going to get to actually being in person with us, cracking a beer and talking crap.
That's the best.
And so we got to do, it's important, I think, to do them now and then. But there's a fine line of letting loose and not getting canceled. And we always try to not cross that line.
That's always been my biggest fear. Like even hosting game shows, I'm like, when's the day coming that they're just going to cancel Bobby? Like when is that coming? And that's about the time that I'll hang it up. It's like because I'm like, I lean to like it was Adventure Titty. She was telling me, she's like, Rachel's like, you should do stand up. She's like, I think you would love it and kill it. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I hate everything I write. I don't know. But I don't know. That might be something that we look down eventually. But like, it's just freaking nuts. Let's talk about like future fishing goals. Like, is there a bucket list handful of trips that you want to make, like anywhere in the world where you're like, I want to fish this body of water. This is something or a species I've always wanted to chase.
You can actually kind of hit on one of them earlier. Was Arizona. I really want to do a Southwest swing. I was pretty bummed missing that Arizona event that they went to, Bassmaster went to earlier this year.
Was that at Havasu?
That was Havasu.
Yeah.
That's one I really want to go to, man.
It's a cool place.
Havasu is awesome. Deacon went out there, has been out there a couple times for tournaments with BAM Tour, and that place just looks incredible.
Yeah.
Milliken dropped some videos from out that way too that were just like, the views are incredible.
Yeah.
And fishing looks good. I talked to Bertrand a decent amount, and it's like, God, I really want to go to the Southwest. That's one for sure. I'm actually going on one this year. I'm going out to Clear Lake to fish that Bassmaster event.
Oh, that's cool.
So I'm hyped for Clear Lake.
Definitely.
I've gotten to fish a little bit of California already. When we did our BAM Tour would fly me out to do some media and support the trail this past year. And I got to go fish like Don Pedro and Columbia River. That was awesome. Dude, I really want to go on, and it's crazy I haven't done it because I'm literally 10 minutes from the border, but like a 1 week long truck camping fishing trip in Canada.
That's
like the backwoods lakes where there's no houses on, all that stuff. I want to do that.
Yep. 100%. We have one of our jig heads. We call him the Canadian koala.
That's amazing.
Nick Deshane, good dude. Nick is awesome. He's part of the Dark Horse tackle team. That's how we met. And I told him, I was like, dude, I go, what do you think of the idea of like doing like a Lake of the Woods, like just a camp for like a week? something like that. Like go and we'll send it like that. Or I was like, I would also be game to do one of these fly-in trips where we go to a lodge and we just go. And I was like, just make a shit ton of content, eat a bunch of really good food. I'm like, it'll be just amazing. Like in your neck of the woods, we did a trip. We did a trip to Cayuga, and it was some of the, like a moron, man. I set this up. It was Columbus weekend. Not this last year, but the year previous. So we had a nice long weekend. There was a campground that we stayed at that was right on the Erie Canal. So we just go down into the lake. Yeah. It was great. The weather sucked, and I scheduled one of those slot limit tournaments, of course, to a body of water that's known for giants. Yeah. And I'm like a moron. I mean, I caught numbers, but I caught fish that didn't make the minimum. They're all like
so 8, many 9 18s in that place.
I'm like, you son of a bitch. They didn't. No. They didn't make the minimum. They didn't make the 12-inch minimum. It was so bad. So I was like, we had such a great time over there, but it was just like, we cooked a bunch of food. We fished our asses off. We went out sitting around the fire. Like, to me, that fellowship and all that, that's part of the reason why I like the Kayak Adventure series as much as I do.
Yeah.
That whole fellowship, like community thing is just unfreaking believable. It's super cool.
Yeah.
Have you gotten into any of those?
Dude, I've tried a couple times. I just have life get in the way where it's I actually almost fished the one in the Susky last year that like turned into that crazy storm deal.
Oh, yeah.
But I actually woke. So I got home from a trip, flew in, landed at midnight, had all my stuff in the truck and was supposed to drive down because it was that weird change of schedule where like it became like basically like a 2-day full tournament or whatever. He changed up. I can't remember fully.
Hurricane Debbie
was in that. Yeah, dude. It was like
I was there.
I barely got out of South Carolina for a work trip.
Yeah.
Missed the hurricane, landed, packed the truck. I'm like, dude, I just need 2 hours of sleep. It takes me 2 hours to get down there. I just need at least a little bit here.
Yeah, definitely.
Woke up at 2 a.m. with a migraine. And I'm like, when I get migraines, it's like cloth over the eyes, pitch dark room. Like I can't function.
Yep.
And woke up with that. I'm like, yep, I ain't going to make it down there. And it's a good thing I didn't because of how bad it was. But yeah, no, I missed that one. Unfortunately, I'd like to do some, but I've heard people just rave about the experience, which is exactly what Drew set out to do.
Yep. 100%. Like he's kind of redefining. It's so cool. It really is an event. Like I was that one where he had me at the awards ceremony doing fishy trivia and kind of like, emceeing a little round table, and it was him and it was Jeff Little, and it was just unbelievable. It was that trip. Jeff Little was like, yeah, if you want to toy with like rivers and stuff, he's like, you're right. Your native is just not really ideal for that setting. He goes, you should look into like an osprey. And I that's when I was just like, that's a good idea. And you know what? When Jeff Little says something,
you listen.
Like you just do. So that's
Jeff speaks. Shut up and listen.
Yeah, shut up and listen. That's coming from a place of like knowledge and experience. Yeah. So I was like, okay. Yeah, this is pretty cool. But yeah, Drew is doing really, really great stuff with the Kayak Adventure series, and that was an unbelievable trip. I brought my boat down that time because I was going to meet up with a bunch of folks that weren't fishing the tournament. So I was like, we'll just take my boat. We'll go to wherever. But like Army Corps of Engineers shut down all the ramps for all of the inbound lakes. And I'm like, I'm going to have to drive so far out of the way. It was ridiculous. The trivia was awesome though. And the folks that I got to meet and engage with down there was absolutely unbelievable. So totally worth it, but just bananas, absolutely bananas. Bailey, this was awesome, dude. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. This is great. Do me a favor and let everybody know like where they can find you. Obviously, if they're not already listening to the Serious Angler podcast, but like all of that stuff, let them know where they can follow you or forward any kind of questions or anything like that for you. Promote yourself a little bit and obviously who you're working with.
Yeah, man. I appreciate it. Appreciate the invite. I love doing these things, man. And you guys are doing a hell of a job.
Appreciate that, man.
So social media, obviously podcast, Serious Angler, and anything, wherever you guys listen to Jigs and Bigs, you can find Serious Angler. And then myself personally, any social media that possibly exists, I likely have a page on it. So just Bailey Eigbrett, you can find me there. Be the Fish on YouTube. And then, I mean, if there's social media exists, you can find my ugly mug somewhere on it. But beyond that, work with some amazing people. Obviously, we talked about the Rapala 13 and them folks earlier on this show, but Sniper Marine's a big one that I work with, and they make the, some of the forward facing sonar mounts, and I work with them on a different level of things beyond just with my brand. I've been kind of helping them behind the scenes with marketing and things like that.
That's cool.
But folks at Amped Outdoors, there's a list of people we can go down through, but I just have an incredible support team, and all stems with, I would be remiss. I know she listens to these shows every time I'm on them because she's the best supporter, but my wife is numero uno. She's
awesome,
the number one sponsor because she lets me do all this stuff. So
it's true, man.
Yeah. But great support system, man. You can't do anything in this world right now without a good support system.
No, it's necessary for sure, dude. This is really, really fantastic, man. Do me a favor and just DM me a picture of you holding the tank, and we'll use it for the artwork of this episode. And we have an event coming up on January 24th. And I know Springfield, Mass is like 6 hours away from you, so I totally understand. But I want to offer you and your wife, if you guys want to come down, a pair of tickets for our live show on January the 24th. It's the 300th celebration episode. So we're doing some crazy stuff. I've got some links and stuff for lodging that's available. Springfield's an interesting spot. A lot of people think the only thing you can do in Springfield, Massachusetts is
Get murdered?
That's not true, though. There is the Basketball Hall of Fame. We've got a local MGM casino. There's, lots of activities. We're doing the Friday, the 23rd. I'm actually opening up my trivia night and making that a full fishy trivia experience. And then the Saturday, we're doing the show. And it'll be a whole lot of fun. It'll be a good time.
I'm trying to look up here. I could actually swing my route. That's a little bit of a detour, but down to Florida. I'm leaving for Florida that week.
Oh yeah,
I might mean.
I'm just
I won't rule it out. I won't rule it out because I've been to
throwing it out
Springfield
there.
before. I played some lacrosse tournaments over there.
Oh, no kidding. All right, nice. Yeah, beautiful Western Massachusetts. You come right out of the Berkshires, which are just absolutely beautiful and pristine, to that, and that's what you get. I love it,
I'll
dude.
let you know, man.
Awesome. All right, Bailey, thanks so much, man. This is absolutely fantastic. Go check out Serious Angler Podcast and make sure that you leave some comments and likes and stuff on their content. We'll see you guys in just a bit with more Jigs and Bigs. The live well coming up right after this.
Hi there. Welcome to the Live Well, where we crack open a ramp beer and attempt to answer all of your burning questions.
And they are burning. They're very much burning, as if you left the glory hole at your local truck stop. These questions are burning like that. But what we got is one call this week in the live well, and I think it's a good one. Eli doesn't disappoint. He brings the heat. Let's go ahead and dive in.
Hey, it's Eli for the question for the live well. I just came across a podcast called Fishing for a Living. The guy, I think his Instagram name is The Current. And I was curious to see, it sparked a question that I wanted to ask of what up and coming, maybe it's fishing content creators, bait makers, bait companies, stuff like that. What are some up and coming people or people to look out for? Maybe it's specifically to Massachusetts area, maybe it's around the U.S. But who are some people that you've been keeping your eye on that are up and coming that people should know more about?
That's a tough one. Content creators is really, really tough because I'm trying to think of anybody that's like local in the area that's really like kind of like wowed me. There's not a whole lot right now.
I don't think I have anything locally.
Yeah, even on like the grand scheme of things, like lots of times I find that I'm a little bit late to the game, like finding some stuff.
Yeah.
Or I'll think I've found the juice and I mention it to somebody and I'm like, oh yeah, you got to check this out. But I will say, as far as like bait makers and stuff, so I think to answer this question, there's a It depends on the person who's there, what they're going to think cutting edge is, because if they're just into this, they might be like, oh, I discovered this really amazing bait brand. I'm crazy about it. And, they have all these great, products and I love them and they're great. Perhaps you've heard about them. It's called
Strike King.
And you're like, oh, duh. You know what I mean? You can buy that anywhere, literally. Or like, hey, I think I found a fucking juice. Have you ever heard of this?
Gary Yamamoto.
And it's like, so there's that. And I think for those people, they probably look at us, Joe, and are like, how do you guys know all this juice?
Yeah.
And the cheat code is Dark Horse Tackle. That's the cheat code. It just is, because without Dark Horse Tackle, like I wouldn't know about HH Custom Baits, which for the last year has absolutely been killing it for me.
Sure.
I wouldn't know about some of the other things like Bass Dope. You know what I mean? I wouldn't know about some of these amazing bait brands that are out there. But to folks that are already in that Dark Horse Tackle circle, you guys have like backstage passes to all this. Whether you're getting a subscription box or you're just picking up a pack every once in a while. By the way, I just put in a nice Dark Horse order last night. I replaced my baby A-Rig with the jig heads. I picked up, there was one specific item that I had wanted to look at and that caught my eye. And then what else did I grab? I grabbed a handful of nice pieces, but that definitely replacing that baby A-Rig was like a big deal, especially given that now I'm looking to set the Mass State record.
That's right.
I got work to do. I'm going to need these chandeliers.
That's right.
So I think that like that's the one benefit. I do think there's a couple of brands that like haven't stepped into that Dark Horse world that have sort of become something that I am for sure into, and that is pig jigs.
Yep.
And that runs the gamut from like conventional size jigs and stuff like that to they're obviously like their ultralight line of stuff, which is amazing, but also rods. Like that pig jigs rod is one of the best purchases I have made in the last year. It totally, totally is. I also would say that I think Jay's what is it? What's the name of it? Damn it. Ranger Fishing uses, I can't think, is it Jay's Lures? I think it's Jay's Lures. There's a couple of these other like real niche, like downsized companies where they specialize in like small glides or, something along those lines. What about you, Joe?
I got a couple actually.
Yeah.
Same. So when it comes to companies that I've been looking out for, and and you and I have talked about them, or I've actually like shown you, as Thump Gel is one I've really been keeping an eye on. And a new hard bait company that I've been keeping my eye on lately, and I actually got my hand on one of their baits of late, was I don't know if have you heard of Rod Bender?
I've heard the name. I don't think I've ever actually seen any of their stuff.
Yeah, so this is kind of...
Oh, wow. That's a nice fucking pattern, dude.
Yeah, this is their bigger size, and they have like I don't know what I did with it, but I have another like 3-inch one, like a smaller one, the same pattern and everything.
Is that a tie on the back so you can put a rear treble?
No, it actually it has a rear treble on it.
Oh, I didn't see the hook there. Oh,
yeah, it has a rear treble on it.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. So this one's 3 ounces, got that boot tail on it.
Yep.
I haven't, I haven't, but this is like one of those ones where it's like so nice. Oh, that's where Todd, I gifted the small one I had to Todd for purchasing.
Oh, that's awesome, man. He's going to fucking love that shit.
Yeah, it was a little gifty I gave him. But yeah, so they're it's a cool company I'm watching out for. Who else? As far as like people, content creators, nothing jumps out to me.
I think if I had some time to think about this, I could come up with something.
Same.
You know what I mean?
but companies, I always have my eye out on small businesses for sure. Yeah. So the two that come to mind right now are the thumb gel and the rod bender.
How did you discover that thumb gel stuff? That wasn't at the that show in Pittsburgh,
that was at
it?
the PA show.
Oh, it was.
Yeah, I was at the PA show.
I think I have one of those little tubes of the thumb gel.
Yes, when we were in Columbus,
when we were in Columbus.
One,
Yep. That stuff is pretty great, and actually, the applicator
I use it all
for
the
it,
time, dude.
Yeah. It's pretty badass. The biggest thing about using like any kind of scent or spray or anything like that is like the ability, especially when it leaves like a color, you want to be able to apply it and have it be like at where you want it to go, not just like smudged everywhere or something like that.
Right.
So like that applicator works a lot like a marker. You can put a little bit on there and then you can actually like rub it in where you want it, and it'll stay because it's that gel. It'll actually stay there. You know,
it doesn't come off.
Only time that I've noticed that it does start coming off, and it's a great problem to have, is when you're getting absolutely bit off of this. You know,
that's a good problem.
Yeah, it's a great problem to have. And actually, little pro tip. You know what I started using that for?
What's that?
Bladed jig and spinnerbait trailers.
Yes. Oh, right on the skirts?
Not even necessarily on the skirts, but like I'll take and I'll pull the skirt back, and up high on the hook, right behind the jig head, I'll put a good glob of it that goes right around, and it gives a little something in there to get a little bit more attention. I feel, and
it's UV reactive too. Like a lot of people don't notice. So.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's pretty good stuff. Yeah, thumb gel, man. That's solid.
Yep.
But yeah, everybody's got their like secret sauce. You know, stuff that they're just really into. And for some folks, it's funny because like there's always somebody who's like who's a little bit further in the know than maybe you are. And that goes, you know what I mean? So like you could be that guy that's just like,
oh man, you know what I freaking love, dude? I love throwing those baits. They're called Lucky Craft.
You know, and it's like, I mean, it's just like something that's been around like forever.
Have you ever heard of Rapala?
You know,
I know.
And it's like, you know, for somebody, they might just be discovering that juice. And it's like, oh, homie, we'll get you caught up. Everybody knows somebody who's just like on it. And they're like, you got to check this out. For a lot of my friends, I'm that guy. And I was like, you guys have no idea. Like there are some folks that I have met that make me look like an absolute idiot when it comes to knowing what's in the know. Zach.
Oh, sure.
Zach is a perfect example.
Oh, that guy don't know shit.
It's his business to stay up to date on everything. But man, it's freaking badass, dude. Yeah,
hell yeah.
Freaking badass. What a good show.
Good show.
So yeah, we will be recording on December 26th. That's the plan. We'll be recording that Friday night. Should be a good one. And my plan is this. If I really, so this is the call to action at the end of the show, guys. I mentioned earlier that I was adjusting my business and stuff. And I was like, I am going to do something that I haven't ever done before on the show, but here's the deal. The Jigs and Bigs audience is significant and it's sizable. Every one of you guys works. Every single one of you guys listening to this show knows people that have jobs. So if you're anywhere in the country, because I travel, right, and you're having a work event and you want to engage some folks, something like that, I can host game shows live in person, travel out your way and do a full event out in your direction, or I'm available for online and for hybrid events. So you go to my website is bobbyroastbeef.com. You can go ahead, go over there and visit that main landing page at bobbyroastbeef.com. You can submit your information for dates. So if you have a date for an event in mind, pass that link over to your HR people or your friends or your anybody. If you know anybody who's tasked with organizing an event for a corporate setting, help me out, because what that's going to allow me to do is to free up the time to do more amazing stuff for Jigs and Bigs. That's the name of the game. I do want to take a look at this. John Carter just threw this in here. He goes, did you guys see state official boaters certification? I sent Joe the link.
I have it in there. I just haven't. I just noticed it right before the show.
I got to get on that because next year is the year. Like, it's got to go down. So it'll be interesting. It'll be very, very interesting. I think that about does it for this week's show, though, Joe. Do you have anything you want to throw in there?
No, man, that's it. Good show. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, you guys are absolutely the best. I hope you have a fantastic Christmas. Merry Christmas, everybody. Pal. It's going to be really, really good. Todd chimes in. He goes, here, I got to get some sleep before work. Last 2 days before PTO. Merry Christmas, guys. We're good. Oh, and John says we're good till 28. Okay, well, good, because let's be honest. I don't like to rush into anything like boater safety. That's right. Oh, my goodness. You guys have yourself a good one. As always, remember, Jigs and Bigs is every single week available for you to check out. Make sure to follow us on our socials, on our respective YouTube channels, both Jigs and Bigs and American Fat Fishing. Download the Whatnot app and spend your money irresponsibly. Joe's got boat payments to make, and the camper shopping is probably going to come up again at some point or another. So
probably
he's going to need as much help as he can. Guys, have yourselves a good one. We will see you with more Jigs and Bigs in 7 days. Like we always say,
tits and ass, smoke some grass.